Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is story about what if Naruto has a dragon bloodline part 1. Before I start, please do support for more amazing content and comments for part 2. Do consider to subscribe my channel and share my video to your friends and check out the description as well. Let's start the video. Minato stood across from the nine-tailed fox. He stood on top of the toad boss Gamabunta. At his feet was a small bundle. Ready, big guy? The blonde asked as got ready. As I'll ever be, the toad said. Minato went through hand signs and yelled, Death Reaper Seal. As he said those words, the Shinigami rose from the ground and faced the fox. Then the beast felt his body being pulled. It roared as it was sucked into the bundle at the man's feet. As he did, the bundle began to cry. Meanwhile, a pair of golden eyes stared at them. So he is the one, a deep voice said. The creature then turned into silver chakra and joined the fox inside the boy's body. The Shinigami stood above Minato about to swallow him, when he felt something. Aren't you going to eat me? Minato asked the god of death. Something has come up, Shinigami said, and our deal is off. What? Easy human, the god said. Something else has joined boy, meaning our contract is null and void. The fox is still in the child. However, I cannot eat your soul. Instead you shall be put in a sleep along with your wife. Only your son will be able to wake you. My son? He asked. What does he have to do with this? You will learn when you awaken, he said. A burst of purple flame appeared in the god's hand and a red-haired woman appeared. Honey? She asked. Sleep tight, the death god said as the two suddenly fell asleep. The god knew that some people would try to do something dumb, so he transported them somewhere else. He figured somewhere in water country would do. He smiled as he went home. He just hoped the boy would have a better life than he hoped. In the seal, Kyubi was roaring its head off. Darn it, he growled. When I get out of here I'm going to. Calm yourself, fox, said a deep voice. The Kyubi looked and saw a large silver dragon a few feet from the cage. I had a thick body with long strong legs, massive wings and a long tail. It had a large head with massive teeth and glowing gold eyes. Its scales were silver and it's practically a gavi off an aura of authority. We have much to discuss, the dragon said. End prologue. Chapter 1, Rise to Power. It had been 13 years since the sealing. 13 years since the dragon entered the seal and stopped the Shinigami from eating Minato's soul. Those years were nothing but pain. Naruto had been nearly killed multiple times over his life. The Sandaime had created a law that no one could talk about Kyubi. Unfortunately, this didn't really do anything. Naruto had been beaten almost every day, even worse on his birthday. All the while Kyubi and the dragon fumed in the seal. As it turns out, the dragon was sent by Kami. He had known what would happen to the boy and knew that he would need a father, so he sent the dragon to merge into the seal with Kyubi, thus breaking the deal. The dragon told Kyubi of this and had to admit he was surprised the god of life did this. Well, not really, since it was known that Kami was a big softie when it came to kids. As Naruto grew, he was denied food, shelter, and a family. The only family he knew were at a ramen stand. He made a few friends in the academy, but the parents of some made their children stay away from him. They listened, unfortunately. If they had known Naruto's life, they would be angry with their parents. Naruto, despite this pain, didn't hate his village. He did, however, put up a mask to hide his pain. He had to take the graduation class for the academy 3 times. He didn't have the best chakra control because the teachers were paid off by the council to sabotage his education. He managed to pass he beat Mizuki, one of his teachers, and saved his other teacher Irika. At the same time, he learned the shadow clone jutsu. Because of both of these he passed. When he passed, he was put with Sasuke Uchiha and Sakura Haruno. The first was an arrogant pain in the butt who thought everything should be given him on a silver platter because he was spoiled rotten by the council when his clan was killed by his brother Itachi. Sakura Haruno was his #1 fangirl. Naruto had a crush on her, but after a few hits to the face from said girl for just talking to her, it died. He just kept it up for his mask. Their sensei was a jounin named Kakashi Hatake. His sensei was Minato, Naruto's father. He had no ill will to the boy since he knew that Naruto wasn't what he contained. He was one of the ANBU guards that were assigned to him. He protected the boy all he could. The 4 were currently on a mission to Wave. The mission was to protect a bridge builder by the name of Tazuna. It was C-ranked, but it became a B-ranked when they were attacked by toe-missing ninja. They were hired by Gato, a corrupt businessman, who was slowly bleeding his home dry. He begged them to help him. They agreed. They had currently arrived and were walking down a dirt road when Kakashi suddenly yelled, "Get down!" Everyone ducked. A huge sword came out of nowhere. Only Sakura didn't get down in time. Naruto then pushed her out of the way, but he was struck across the chest by the blade. Sakura was shocked. Her mother had told her that he was a demon, and yet he had just saved her life. It was then she saw what she did to him. She felt tears pool in her eyes. "Naruto!" She cried and went over to his body. "Naruto, why? Why did you do it?" As Sakura, Naruto said, "Those who abandon the rule are trash, but those who abandon their teammates are worse. I wasn't about to let you die. Not yet anyway." Sakura felt her heart break. Kakashi looked on at his student. He had taken that motto to heart. Then he heard words that made his blood boil. "What an idiot," Sasuke said. "He just gave his life to save some dead weight." "What a loser." Kakashi glared at the Uchiha. Right now he was considering bring the Uchiha clan down to 1 person. Sakura, however, stared at her crush. He just spat on someone's grave for saving someone's life. Her look changed from shock to disgust. Her view of him just went down the can. Tazuna had a scowl himself. He had heard that ninja were supposed to stand by their comrades, and this kid was making fun of one for him being compassionate toward another. Man, this kid was in a desperate need for a serious wake-up call. Or just a hard shot to the head, whichever came first. Did you teach him that? A voice said. Everyone looked to see a man with cowhide pants, long pants and sandals, wraps on his arms and mask that covered his mouth, standing on the sword that had sliced Naruto. Yes, Kakashi said, I did. He would have made a great ninja, Zabuza said. If you survive, give the boy a proper funeral. In Naruto's mind, Naruto woke up in a sewer. He felt his chest to be surprised that he was alive. Though he had just died. Naruto looked around and saw a large door in front of him. He blinked as he saw it. Walked forward and opened it. He saw a massive cage. When he got closer, he peered inside and saw a massive pair of red eyes. Naruto gulped. Suddenly a huge set of claws shot forward. Naruto jumped back to avoid them. As he landed, he heard a loud bellowing laugh. Oh man, I needed that laugh, said a voice from inside the cage. Hey, are you the Naruto stuttered? Yes, the voice said, I am Kyubi. Naruto hung his head. The villagers were right. I am a demon. No! Naruto spun around at the yell to see a massive silver dragon. You are not the fox, the dragon growled. Dang child beaters. They really messed you up. Who are you? Naruto asked at the imposing force. I am Elion. The king of the dragons, the beast said. I will tell you why I'm here later. Right now we don't have a lot of time. Right, the fox said. Kid, we need to do something to keep you alive. What? Naruto asked. What are you going to do? We'll merge our chakra with you, the fox answered. There will some physical changes, but you will figure them out later. All right, Naruto said, but make it quick. I have to help my teammates. The two giants nodded and both sent massive blasts of chakra at Naruto. Elion's was silver while Kyubi's was red. In the real world, Kakashi had his headband off his eyes, showing a Sharingan eye. He was having trouble fighting Zabuza because of the hidden mist jutsu he had cast over the field. Sakura and Sasuke were both guarding Tazuna. The swordsman was about to finish things when there was a sudden burst of chakra. What is this power? Zabuza thought as he looked around. He cleared the mist and was met with the shock of his life. The boy in orange, the one he killed, was now radiating silver and red chakra. The body slowly rose up as a few changes occurred. The boy began to get taller. Soon he was Sasuke's height. Silver highlights appeared in his hair. As his face came into view, they saw his whisker marks were fading a bit. When he opened his eyes, the pupil was slit, and he had a ring of silver around his iris. Naruto then threw off his jacket. The shirt revealed a bit of muscle underneath. He also had a tattoo of a red fox on his right arm and silver dragon on his left. Sasuke, Naruto growled. Who is this guy? He received only silence. Answer me. Naruto roared. Sasuke was surprised at the volume. Naruto's voice got loud when he was angry, but it was never like this. He's the one who threw the sword, Naruto, Sakura said, fighting down the blush she had when she saw Naruto's muscles. Good, Naruto said, now I know who to thank for that. Naruto then vanished in a burst of speed that Kasha could barely follow. He appeared in front of Zabuza, letting out a mean right hook to his jaw. The swordsman was sent flying across the battlefield until he connected with a tree. What the heck was that? Was the thought running through everyone's heads as they saw the awesome display of power. Zabuza groaned as he rose from the ground. Then he was knocked back to the ground via a punch from Naruto again. Then Naruto put his heel on his back and grabbed both of Zabuza's arms. Then Naruto pulled on both arms until there was a loud crack. The swordsman's arms fell limp to the ground. Whoa, was all Kakashi could say at the time. The chakra around Naruto started to fade and he just stood there. What do we do with him? Naruto asked as the chakra around him faded. I will take care of that, said a voice. They looked and saw a hunter ninja. She stood in front of Zabuza and he picked him up. Thank you for helping detain him, the hunter nin said. Naruto looked at the hunter and sniffed the air. He smiled. No problem, Hunter-chan, Naruto said, making the hunter blush beneath her mask. She disappeared via Shushin. Kakashi-sensei, Naruto said, getting the man's attention. Do me a favor, would you? Catch me. Naruto then fell backwards. Kakashi jumped into action and caught him. Are you okay, Naruto? He asked. Yes, sensei, Naruto said, I'm fine. That just put a lot of strain on my body. Not used to using so much chakra at once. I'll improve over time. Now I'm going to take a nap. All the while Sasuke looked at Naruto with jealousy. What was that power? When he wakes up I will demand him to tell me where he got that power so I can get it for myself. After about an hour of walking, the group arrived at the village. They walked through the town, which was now very poor. A lot of people were very thin and kids were begging for food in the streets. The stores barely had anything. They arrived at a small house on the edge of the town. When they walked in, Tazuna yelled, Tsunami! Inari! I'm home! A young woman about mid-30s came into the room. Hey dad, she said, are these the ninja you hired? Yeah, he said, you're not going to believe what happened. They found out about how I had tried to trick them, but they decided to help out. Then we were attacked by this guy with a huge sword. The blonde here took the shot over the chest. Then he started flowing red and silver. Then he actually beat the guy and tore his arms out of their sockets. Tsunami looked at him with a look of shock on her face. A kid did all that? She was really starting to wonder what a ninja could really do. She noticed the unconscious boy on the silver-haired man's shoulder. Is he going to be okay? She asked. He'll be fine, Kakashi said. He just wore himself out fighting is all. Is there a place where he can rest? Yes, Tsunami said. There's a spare room down the hall upstairs. Third door to the right. Kakashi smiled at her and carried his student to the room. He laid Naruto down and left to leave his student to sleep. As he left, he was approached by Sasuke. Kakashi, he sighed. What was that power Naruto used? To be honest, Sasuke, I'm not sure, the one-eyed ninja replied. I can only guess that it's probably some kind of bloodline due to the fact that it activated when Naruto was supposedly killed. Why do you ask? I want it, he said. Kakashi was quiet, then sent a hateful glare at the last Uchiha who was starting to sweat. Listen, boy, he growled. I don't care who you are or what your uncle did for me. If you try to take one of Naruto's, I will personally make sure that you are dropped from the ninja curriculum. You can't do that, Sasuke yelled. I can, Kakashi said, and I will. You mocked Naruto's heart when he nearly gave his life for Sakura. Congratulations, Sasuke, you're worse than trash. With those words, Kakashi left Sasuke. Sasuke turned around and saw Sakura walking up the stairs. He expected her to try and ask him out. To his surprise, she didn't. She didn't even look at him. She just walked right past him and walked into Naruto's room. She locked the door behind her. In the room, Sakura knelt next to Naruto. Now she was noticing how handsome he was. Naruto, she thought, I'm sorry for how I treated you. When you wake up, I hope you can forgive me. In Naruto mind, Naruto was having a little talk with his two tenants. So what exactly happened out there? Naruto asked. I've never felt like that before. Sorry about that, kid, Kyubi said. The merge caused a bit of spike in your emotional responses, which is why you were so angry. I guess that makes sense, Naruto said. Now I have to ask, what will happen as a result of our merging? Well, Alien spoke. A result will be that your senses will increase in strength. They'll be so strong that they'll be on par with a ninja hound. You will also be able to call on our chakra. If I'm correct, eventually you will be able to use ours in conjunction with yours. Yeah, Naruto said, but I'm nervous about that. Won't Sasuke be able to copy my moves if actually does unlock his Sharingan? No, Kyubi answered. Our chakra is much stronger than regular chakra. This means that the little jutsu thief won't be able to steal your hard work. Awesome, Naruto said with a grin. Now child, Alien said, while we're here there is a smith in town. When you wake, go to him and ask him to forge you 2 swords. Why should I do that? Naruto asked the Dragon King. If you take our chakra and merge it with the weapon, then it will be able to use our chakra and you can use it more adeptly in battle, the dragon explained. Good idea, Naruto said. I could expand my arsenal a bit. I want to be able to catch the villagers by surprise should they try to attack me. Good, now there's one last thing we want to ask you, kid, Kyubi said. What's up? Naruto asked. A bloodline from you both? Naruto asked. Yes, Kyubi said. We can alter your genetics so you can get one from us both. What would you like? Naruto thought for a couple of minutes. Well, from the dragon. Naruto said. I think one like the Sharingan. Although it would copy bloodline if I wanted to, not just everything I see. Plus, if it's a jutsu, it gives me the hand signs and how much chakra it uses. This is so I can get an understanding of it. I don't want to steal someone else's hard work. The dragon smiled at this. This kid was always willing to learn. And from you, Kyubi, how about on with genjutsu? I think one that can cause actually wounds and be able to break though one event heats economy. Sounds like you're trying to find a way to fight an Uchiha, Alien said. Well, Naruto said, if Sasuke does get that strong or if by chance I run into his brother, I want to be ready with that. Plus, let's face it, my genjutsu sucks. Alright kid, the fox said, it will take a while for us to get these done. About a week or so. In the meantime, train. When we get those swords, we'll teach you some techniques. Alright, Naruto said, see you two later. Naruto then woke up to find Sakura watching over him. Hey Sakura, Naruto said, what are you doing here? Well, she said, I felt sorry when you got hurt. I decided to watch you. Thanks, Naruto said. As he got up to leave, Sakura kissed his cheek. That was for saving me, she said as she saw the shocked look on Naruto's face. Naruto and Sakura walked downstairs. When they got there, they found Kakashi sitting at the table reading his little orange book. He got an annoyed look from both Sakura and Tsunami. Hey Kakashi-sensei, Naruto said, can I talk to you later? I have something I need to talk to you about. Okay Naruto, Kakashi said. As dinner started, a little boy with a fisherman's hat came down. He didn't eat, saying he wasn't hungry, and left. Naruto had a feeling that this kid had been through some tough times. He hadn't seen the village, so he didn't really know. After dinner, the silver-haired ninja pulled Naruto to the side and out to the backyard. What is it you needed to talk to me about, Naruto? Well, it's about what happened in the forest, Naruto said. I know about my tenant before you ask, and as it turns out I have another one. What? Kakashi asked, surprised. Yeah, Naruto said. His name is Elion. He's supposed to be the king of the dragons or something. Anyway, according to them, they gave me their chakra so that I could survive being slashed across the chest by Zabuza back in the forest. Other than these physical changes, I have enhanced senses that are on par with the ninja hounds, and my physical abilities have increased tenfold. Kakashi was currently slack-jawed. He had heard that the influence of such creatures could result changes, but this really took the cake. Anything else, Naruto? The man asked after he regained his composure. Yeah, Naruto said, I'm going to end up getting bloodlines. Naruto, it's good that he stopped when he had to do a double take. Wait, did you say bloodlines as in more than one bloodline? Yeah, Naruto said, one from the dragon will be able to give me an understanding of moves I see and copy bloodlines. The other gives me some genjutsu abilities since my own just plain sucks. Kakashi was right now having a moment where he thought that this was just some messed up dream. He decided to just leave it to them since he couldn't tell if Naruto was lying or not. Okay, Kakashi said after being silent for a moment, do you already have them or are we going to have to wait? They both said that it would take about a week before I'm able to use them, Naruto said with a tone that said he was a bit upset by it. Until then, could you not tell anyone about it? I don't want Sasuke trying to interrogate me about how I got it. That's understandable, Naruto, Kakashi said. He had been looking forward to training the boy since he had a debt to pay to Obito. Unfortunately or fortunately, depends on how you look at it, that little crack about how Naruto was being stupid by nearly giving his life for his teammate was what broke him of that. Uchiha or not, this kid really needed to learn some humility. Is there anything else? Kakashi asked. Yeah, Naruto said, I'm going into town tomorrow so I can get some swords. Is it okay if I train on my own? I don't want Sasuke getting any ideas. Okay, Kakashi said, I'll tell them that you awoke a bloodline during the fight with Zabuza and that you're trying to get it under control. Thanks, Kakashi-sensei, Naruto said with a grin. With that, the two entered the house. Almost immediately Sasuke walked up to them. What were you talking about? He asked, wanting answers. None of your business, Naruto said. Sasuke growled at Naruto and turned to Kakashi. Naruto was just telling me something about the abilities he used, Kakashi lied. He thinks that it might be an old bloodline. It's probably nothing compared to the Sharingan, Sasuke said, making Kakashi mentally groan. What was I thinking when I wanted to train this kid, he thought. After that and some amazing dessert, which happened to be cake, everyone went to bed. Sasuke was eyeing Naruto though, trying to figure out how he could get power like that. The next day Kakashi was in thought about something. It was noticed by Naruto since they were at the breakfast table. Hey sensei, what is it? Naruto asked. I don't think that Zabuza is dead, he said, making everyone at that knew the name sit up. Tazuna and Tsunami were both a little pale at this. If this guy was really alive, then they could come for them at any time. The boy who was with them, Inari Tazuna's grandson, was nervous also. He had heard about him from Tazuna. He was really nervous. What? Sakura scared, but we saw him get carried off by that hunter ninja? How can he be alive? Sakura, Kakashi explained, if that was a hunter ninja then he would have started getting rid of the body as soon as he was able to. So what you're saying is that that was a fake one and was in league with him? Naruto asked. That's what I'm getting at, Naruto, Kakashi said. Apparently you're smarter than you let on. Yeah, Naruto said. By the way, do you really think that we can do this on our own? To be quite honest, Naruto, Kakashi said, I don't. Kakashi got up from the table taking a knife with him, and used it to cut the end of his thumb. Then he slammed his open palm onto the ground, summoning jutsu. There was a puff of smoke, and when it cleared it revealed a small pug. Hey Kakashi, the dog said, making the people around him freak out. Pakin, Kakashi said, I need you to go to the Hokage. Tell him that we've run into some trouble, and we need Azum back up for the mission. Preferably some ANBU. The small dog nodded its head and then vanished in a puff of smoke. So, Kakashi said as the children and adults around him gained their composure. Judging by the injuries Naruto gave the swordsman, I'd say it'll be about a week before Zabuza comes after us again. Until that day we train like there is no tomorrow. Everyone nodded at that and got up. They followed the one-eyed wonder before he stopped in an old field. Naruto, he said, I want you to go off on your own. With that bloodline, who knows what will happen. I want you to try the tree climbing exercise. To do this, just concentrate the chakra into the soles of your feet. Then use a kunai to mark how high on the tree you've gotten. If you have any problems, let me know. Naruto nodded at the older man and ran off. Why does that loser get to go train on his own? Sasuke asked. Naruto's new abilities may cause some problems, Kakashi explained. For all we know, he might end up blowing up the tree that he uses. Less damage for us, I guess. Sasuke didn't say anything, he just grunted and took out a kunai. Then he ran at the tree and ran up it. He broke the bark on the tree. He grunted as he fell to the ground. Sakura, however, reached the highest branch. Hey Kakashi-sensei, I did it. She yelled. Good job, Sakura, Kakashi said, but don't stop. The only reason you go so high is because your chakra reserves are low. Keep at it, and you will raise your reserves. If you start to feel exhausted, take a break. You're no use to anyone if you don't have any chakra. The girl nodded. Since she got over Sasuke, she was starting to think more clearly. She decided to stop kidding around and to finally start her training. She jumped down from the branch and started running up again. Meanwhile, Naruto was walking through the town. As he looked around, he felt his anger build up. He couldn't believe that someone would put so much suffering on so many people, and all honest, it made him sick to his stomach. Calm yourself, Elian said, that pig's time will come. Until then, focus on the matter at hand. Naruto did that. He walked until he found a small store that looked like it had weapons. He walked in to find the place completely devoid of merchandise. The only things there were two small swords on the wall. Hello, Naruto said, is anybody here? An old man walked out and looked at Naruto fearfully. Please, he said, don't punish me. It's been a hard time for me, I can't pay this month. Sorry, old man, Naruto said, I'm not with Gato. I was brought here to guard the bridge builder so that this place can thrive again. Oh, the man sighed relieved, thank you. Now what can I do for you? I'll take those 2 swords on the wall, Naruto said. The old guy grabbed the 2 swords and handed them to Naruto. Naruto then took out his wallet and emptied the contents on the counter. I hope that will cover the pay, Naruto said as the man looked on the verge of tears. Thank you, he said, thank you. No problem, Naruto said as he hefted his new swords onto his shoulders and walked out. He got back to his training spot in the forest. So what am I supposed to do with these? He asked his tenants. Focus our chakra into the sword kit, Kiba said, then watch. This is going to be good. Naruto did as they said. Silver and red chakra flowed out of Naruto's arms and morphed the 2 swords. The swords grew until they were about 4 feet long and wider than the average katana. Then what looked like a fox head and a dragon's head formed the chakra and went down to the swords. As they did, there was big flash. When Naruto opened his eyes, he got a surprise. One sword had the golden blade. The hilt looked like it was made of gold, and had 2 green emeralds on the hilt. The handle was silver and was wrapped in a brown leather. On the bottom of the hilt there was a red crystal that was made to absorb sweat to avoid losing one's grip. The other sword had a crimson blade with a black hilt. The 2 red orbs on the hilt, and it also had leather wrapped around the handle. On the bottom of said handle was green crystal that pretty much had the same function as the one on the gold one. Now all I have to do is name them, Naruto thought out loud. He decided to name the golden one Dragon Claw and the red one Fox Fang. Fitting names, are they not? Elian asked Kyubi. Very fitting, the fox answered. Now that is out of the way, we can get started. Try that tree climbing thing your sensei mentioned. Naruto ran at a nearby tree kunai drawn. He ran up the tree without any problem. He reached the top and stayed there for a few seconds in shock. How the heck did I do this? My chakra control was never this good. Apparently when we merged with you we evened out your control, Kyubi said. Nice, Naruto thought to the fox. By the way, what am I supposed to do with my swords? If I have them out, more than likely Sasuke team is going to try and steal them. Don't worry, Elian said, you can seal away the swords and the tattoos on your arms. Plus we put a defense mechanism on both swords. If anyone other than you tries to pick them up, then they get burned by quick bursts of our chakra. Naruto nodded. He continued to do the tree climbing exercise for the rest of the day. Even though he was convinced he had it down, he didn't want to come off as lazy. After a day of doing this, he sealed away his words with instructions from his tenants. Then he went to Tazuna's place. He walked in to find the other members of his team. Sasuke and Sakura both looked completely exhausted. What happened to you two? Naruto asked. Training takes a lot out of a person, Sakura groaned. As Naruto sat down, the Inari decided to voice his mind. Why do you try so hard? Inari asked. Gato's just going to kill you just like everyone else who's gotten in his way. Inari. Tsunami gasped. Kid, Naruto said, we aren't from here. We just won't roll over and take a beating. We will fight back. So what? Inari yelled. You're from a big fancy village. Here we've been forced into poverty, and have to work just to keep a roof over our heads. You probably haven't had to work a day in your life. Then you just come in here without a scratch on you. You don't know what it means to be in pain. Kakashi, Sakura and Sasuke all looked at each other. Then they all got up from the table, taking the bridge builder and his daughter with them. They knew that his was as our subject for Naruto. Back at TH Academy, one kid made fun of Naruto by saying that he was worthless orphan with a whore for a mother, and a drunk for a father, and that he was always going to amount to nothing. The very same boy went home with a cracked skull, a few missing teeth, a busted lip, a few bruised ribs, his upper arms and lower legs cracked, and a black eye. Everyone from then on knew not to talk about that or like that to Naruto. The teachers and the boy's parents tried to have Naruto punished for that, but the old man said that the boy brought it on himself with his relentless teasing. Naruto turned to Inari, his face dark. You think that I don't know pain, he said in a low voice. He got up and lifted Inari off the ground and looked the boy right in the eyes as he glared at him. Listen kid, do you have a mother that loves you? A place to call home? Do you have to spend your team digging food out of garbage just to get something to eat? Do you get chased down by a mob almost every day and beaten within an inch of your life, and even worse on your birthday? Let me tell you something, you little crybaby. No matter how bad you think that your life has been, that there is always someone who has it worse than that. Also, if you don't like the way things are going around here, then why don't you stop brooding around like a spoiled runt, and do something about it? Naruto then dropped Inari on his butt and headed for the door. I'm going to go blow off some steam, he said while walking out the door, slamming it behind him. Sensei, Sakura said after a tense silence, what Naruto said, is it true? Did all of that really happen to him? Sakura, Kakashi said, if anything that was the severely sugar-coated version. Everyone nearly had their jaws unhinged as he said that. Kakashi continued, when Naruto was younger, me and a few other ANBU were assigned to guard him. Almost all the time we had to save him from being beaten to death by the villagers. One night I remember taking him to the hospital after he had been nailed to a cross. I had to dig him out of the forest after he was buried alive. I even remember saving him from some drunk who had put him in a burlap sack drenched with alcohol and nearly burned alive. All this they did and much worse. If anyone knows what pain is, it is definitely that boy. Sakura was completely in tears. She had been told that Naruto was a demon. After she had her eyes opened, she couldn't help but cry. She couldn't believe that her mother actually supported this. It brought tears to her eyes. Inari was in tears also. After hearing all that, he knew that he had been wrong when he said that Naruto had not known pain. Tsunami was crying over the fact that a child had to go through all that. Tazuna was clenching the side of the table. If it weren't for the fact that this was Ninja Village, he would go down there and beat the crud out of every person that ever hurt this kid. Kakashi secretly had tears because just the thought of his own village doing this to a little boy who had no control over what had happened to him at birth. It just made him so upset. The only person who seemed to be indifferent was Sasuke. Where did he get all that from? He asked, getting looks from everyone. He probably just made all that up. He probably just said that so people will pity him. He would have continued, but he was cut off by a killing intent from practically every person in the room. Though how 3 civilians, one of which a kid, were able to use killing intent none would ever know, but still. Sasuke then decided to get out of there and headed upstairs to bed. I can't believe I wanted to date him, Sakura yelled. Meanwhile, Naruto was panting. He had just destroyed a few trees. He had Dragon Claw and Fox Fang out, and was currently slashing at anything in his path. He stopped to breath near a river. He looked into it to see his reflection. He saw that his eyes were now red and his pupil was still slit. They are right, Naruto said to himself. I am a demon. No, Naruto stumbled back at the force of the yell from the dragon inside him. Child, you are not a demon, the dragon said. If you were demon, you would have laid waste to that infernal village that you live in. Oh yeah, Naruto said, speaking out loud. If I'm not a demon, then why am I alone? Why did my parents abandon me? Boy, Alien said, your parents did not abandon you. How do you know? Naruto asked. Well, if you don't believe me, Alien groaned, then why don't you ask them? Naruto had to do a double take when he heard that. My parents are alive? My parents are alive? Yes, they are alive, Alien said. I thought that they died in the fight with the Kyuubi, Naruto said, clearly confused. Yes, Alien stated, you father should have. When I entered the seal at your birth, it broke the deal with the Shinigami. The deal broken, he could not take your father's soul. However, he put your father in a deep sleep that prevented him from coming for you. He did the same thing with your mother, who would have survived the attack. Oh, so my dad fought the Naruto paused for a moment. Wait a second. Does that mean that my dad was the— Yes, boy, Kyuubi growled, your father was the Yondaime. Naruto felt himself get dizzy for a few moments. This was a lot to take in. First he finds out that after being an orphan for a few years that his parents are alive and that his father was the Yondaime, the greatest hero of the village. Man, this was a lot to take in after a few seconds. Fortunately Naruto was alone, and since he was talking out loud he didn't have to worry about someone coming along and thinking he was mentally insane. You know who my mother was? Naruto asked. Yes, he said, I did. You see, the man who started your clan was Master Swordsman. My father Garen was in a battle with a few demons. Your ancestor fought alongside him. As a result, my father said that in the future the dragons would help him. A few years after I hatched, I found my father gave me my mission, and I watched over your family. For centuries I watched your family. I only acted when I sensed that your father was going to seal the fox into you. I knew you would need a mother and a father. That is why I did what I did. Okay, Naruto said, understanding. So how do I know where to find my parents? If what the death god told me is correct, then they should be in a hospital about a few miles away, the dragon said. But first you might want to get back to your team. They might be starting to get worried. Okay, Naruto said as he ran back to Tsunami's house. As he didn't notice a figure in a hunter mask watching him. What was that all about? She thought, maybe Zabuza-sama knows something about this. She vanished in a blur. Naruto ran back to the house to find that everyone had gone to bed. Naruto snuck upstairs to his room and found it, and went. Don't worry, Mom and Dad, he thought as he drifted off to sleep. We'll be together again soon enough. Meanwhile, he was talking to himself? Zabuza asked the figure in front of him. Yes, Haku said, I was out trying to get some info on the people who we are going against. He was talking to himself like he was having an argument with someone else. Zabuza was in thought as he heard this information. As were the demon brothers. When Zabuza learned of their failure, he dispatched Haku to retrieve them. Luckily she got there before the Anbu did. When the two heard about what happened to Zabuza, they were pretty upset. He was like a father to them, or just a very bossy big brother. Zabuza remembered something. He had heard about these things back in the Mist Village. He guessed that this kid was Jinchuriki. The only question was what this kid had contained. Haku, he said, I don't want you to survey these people anymore. If this kid really is what I think he is, then we might have more trouble than we think. Yes, Zabuza-sama, Haku said. Don't call me that, Zabuza said, shocking the three present. But I am just a tool for you to use, Haku said, confused as to why he told her not to call him her master. You told me this yourself. I did see you as a tool at first, the swordsman explained, but as the years passed you grew on me. You aren't my took, Haku. You're my daughter. Haku felt tears in her eyes. She had her mask off so you could see her face. She started to tear up and then rushed forward, hugging the large swordsman, but being careful of his wounds. Thank you, father, she said, crying. Hey, what about us? Gezu, the first of the demon brothers, said. I see you as sons as well, Zabuza said, or just as some very annoying little brothers. Hey! Both brothers yelled in indignation. Haku just giggled at their antics. The following morning Naruto wolfed down his breakfast. Naruto, where did you go last night? Sakura asked. I went out so I could get some air and clear my head, Naruto said to her. Then he turned to their sensei. Hey sensei, can I talk to you for a minute? Sure thing, the on-eyed man said as they got up to get somewhere more secluded. As they did, Sasuke was a little upset. The dope got another meeting with their sensei and he wasn't in on it. What exactly was Naruto hiding from them? What is it we need to talk about, Naruto? Kakashi asked. I know who my parents are, Naruto said, looking at the shocked look on his sensei's face. Don't you mean we're Naruto? The man asked. No, the blonde repeated, they're alive. I need your permission to go find them. Kakashi nodded. I think you should go find your parents. I want to meet the mom and dad of the boy that saved my life. Naruto nodded and then bolted out the door. Which way, big guy? He mentally asked his second tenant. About a half a mile east of here, kid, the dragon said. Child, when you get there you will need my chakra to wake them up from the coma that the two are in. Got it, big guy, Naruto thought to the dragon. Naruto ran for a while. While normal people would have been tired by now, Naruto had large chakra reserves. He could go for a long time without getting tired. After about 20 minutes of running he made it to what looked like a minor village. Naruto walked through the village. As he did he was getting looks from the villagers there. To be more specific, the girls. Apparently his new appearance had an adverse effect on girls. Naruto looked around the village until he found a hospital. Naruto felt a little nervous as he entered the place. He never really did like hospitals. First of all, the doctors and nurses that worked there had either tried to poison him, refused to treat him, or when he had broken bones they set them wrong. And worse than that, the food that he served there was absolutely horrible. He steeled his nerves and walked in. He walked up to the front desk. How can I help you? The woman asked. She had a slight blush on her face as she looked at Naruto. Yes, he said, I'm looking for some people. A blonde man and red-haired woman. No recorded names. I know of people like that, she said. We couldn't find them in the database. How do you know them? They're my parents, Naruto said, making the woman gasp. Right this way, she said, getting up from her desk. The two got into an elevator and went a few floors up. Naruto followed the woman through the halls. Eventually they arrived at a room in the back. As they walked in, a doctor who was checking up on the two coma patients. Naruto looked at the two. They had aged a bit in the 13 years they had been asleep. Nurse, the doctor said, who is this? He says that Arjan and Jane Doe here are his parents, the nurse explained. The doctor was skeptical at first but he gave in. Naruto walked up to the two and mentally spoke to his second tenant. Now what? He asked. Focus my chakra into your hands and put it on their foreheads, the dragon said. That should wake the two up. Naruto did that. He focused on the feeling of Elion's chakra. When he first used it, the chakra felt like a strong yet gentle feeling rushed over him. As he focused, silver chakra began to radiate from him. The doctor and nurse both had wide eyes. Naruto then placed his hands on his parents' foreheads and sent it through them. The silver chakra flowed through the two. As the silver chakra dissipated, the years left them, and they began to look younger. Soon they looked like they were in their prime again. The doctor and nurse were both surprised when this happened. Naruto felt a little drained from this and stumbled back. As he sat down, his mother and father began to stir. Slowly the woman rose up and looked around. She was confused. Then she saw a boy in front of her that looked so much like her husband, only with whisker marks on his cheeks. And Naruto? She asked. Her voice was shaking. How's it going, Mom? He asked. Kushina gasped, and then she leapt out of bed and latched onto her son in a tight death hug. She held onto her son like he was going to fade away into nothingness at any moment. Oh, my sweet baby boy! She cried as she started kissing his head right above the forehead protector, much to her son's embarrassment. Mom, Naruto groaned. You two going to leave me out of this? Both turned to see the blonde man had risen up from bed. Kushina got away from Naruto, and his dad swept his son up into a bear hug. About the same time the hugging started, the doctor and nurse decided to leave. They decided to leave the newly reunited family alone. So Naruto, Minato said as he set his son down, how have things been in the village? Before we get to that, Dad, Naruto said before nailing his dad in the gut with a strong punch. That, Naruto said, was for sealing the Kyuubi in me. Minato hung his head. He had a feeling that Naruto would be mad at him. He was then shocked when Naruto started hugging him. This is for caring enough to say that I should be treated as a hero, Naruto said, smiling. Minato hugged his son back and Kushina joined in on the tender family moment. So, Minato said as he got out of the hug and sat down on the hospital bed, how have things been? Dad, Naruto said, I hate to tell you this, so I'm going to have to show you. Naruto lifted up his shirt, and both his mom and dad had to resist the urge to gag. Naruto had multiple scars from his life in the village. There were even some branding marks from when the villagers decided to get a little sadistic on his birthday. Minato clenched his fists, and so did his wife. The two were releasing so much killing intent that a lot of patients in the hospital experienced the code blue. In case you are wondering, that is when the patient's heart stops. Naruto, the older blonde growled, who did this to you? The people you sought to protect did this to me, Naruto said, shocking his father and mother. What? Minato asked, clearly shocked. Why? Why would they do something like this? Because of all the trouble that was caused by the Kyuubi, the villagers couldn't let go of their hate. Naruto explained. They saw me as the reincarnate of the fox. As a result, I was beaten, starved, neglected, and nearly killed on multiple occasions. The only reason I survived is because a few ANBU always came and saved me. Also, the fox's healing ability helped me out plenty of times. Minato was clenching his fists in complete and utter rage. How could he have been so stupid? He had condemned his only son to a life of suffering because he thought the village would be able to see past their hate. He couldn't believe that he had actually nearly died trying to save that whole of a village. Right now, he couldn't even believe that he was actually a ninja from that village right now. His wife was having similar thoughts. Only she was in total disbelief that this had happened to her precious baby. She was going to be kicking a lot of butt when she got back to the village. So now what? Naruto asked. Kushina got out of anger-induced stupor first. First off all, she said, we are going shopping? No son of mine is going to look like this when he's fighting someone. Then we're going back to that village and kicking the butts of the people who dared do this to my little boy. First of all, Mom, Naruto said, I'm not little. And second, I can't. I have a mission in Wave Country not far from here. I can't just abandon my team. Okay then, she said, we'll get you some new clothes, we'll go back to finish your mission, and then we will go kick the butts of the people who dared to this to my little boy. Naruto's sweat dropped as she said that. He made a mental note to never make his mother angry. Naruto's mother and father grabbed their things and left the hospital. A lot of people were surprised to see the John and Jane Doe for the past 13 years up and walking. As soon as they left the hospital, they immediately started looking for a clothing store. They walked in and almost immediately Naruto started browsing for something to wear. After a few minutes of searching and some designing by the woman who owned the shop, Naruto had gained a new look. Naruto now wore a pair of black ANBU-style pants and black sandals. He also had a belt that held his weapon holster. The buckle was just a red square with a black X on it. He had on a red shirt that showed off the muscles on his chest. Over that he wore a silver vest. It had the Konoha symbol on the left side. On the back he had the picture of a red and silver yin-yang symbol. Off the silver side came the shadow of a dragon, and the red had the image of a fox coming out. The jacket didn't have any sleeves, allowing for free movement of his arms, which, according to both of his tenants, would be helpful when using his swords. Oh, you look so handsome, Kushina said as she and her husband paid for the clothes. Naruto blushed in embarrassment again as he heard his mother compliment him on his looks. After that they left the village. The family actually got into a bit of a foot race on the way there. Minato came in a tie with Kushina while Naruto came in second. Naruto might have been strong, but he didn't have enough strength to match the abilities of a Kage. So this is Wave Country, Minato said as he looked around as they walked through the village. I could have sworn that this place was healthier when I saw it. It was, Naruto said, but a tycoon by the name of Gato has been bleeding this place dry ever since he set up shop here. The only reason these people don't fight back is because all who tried to oppose him were publicly executed. Humph, Kushina grunted. Men like that don't deserve the life that they have been given. I can't wait to bring that tycoon down a peg. The trio walked the rest of the way in silence. As they approached Tazuna's place they heard a scream. Get away from my MOM. Naruto immediately recognized the voice. It was Inari. Naruto ran up to the door, his mom and dad following close behind him, and broke down the door. He was greeted by the side to two samurai thugs who had Tsunami by the hair. Inari was on the ground sporting a bruise on his face from where one of the thugs had hit him. Hey, Naruto growled, getting the attention of the toe thugs, leave the kid alone. Oh, and if we don't, little boy, one of the thugs said. Naruto answered by unsealing the swords and arms and charged at the two. One of the thugs swung his sword but missed as Naruto ducked. Naruto then swung Dragon Claw, cutting his arm and causing him to drop his sword. The man screamed in pain, but Naruto shot a hand forward and nailed him right in the face, loudly cracking his jaw. The other thug would have tried to get back at Naruto for hurting his partner but was stopped when Minato suddenly appeared behind him and nailed him in the back of the head with a strong punch. Naruto picked the first thug up off the ground and slammed him into the wall, growling. Who sent you? He asked. Forget you, brat, the thug growled. Who sent you? Naruto repeated. I'm not going to tell you. Who sent you? Naruto growled a third time. Gato, the thug said. Everyone looked at each other surprised that the man had answered the question. That was easy, Naruto said. Why did you answer? I can't stand to be asked the same question 3 times, the thug groaned. It irritates me. Where is Gato now? Naruto asked. Not telling you, the thug said. Where is Gato now? Naruto repeated. To be honest, this was really starting to annoy him. The thug just spat in his face. Still not going to tell you. Where is Gato now? Shoot! The thug growled 3 times. He wasn't going to pay the 2 missing ninja he hired, so more than likely he's on his way over to see if the man succeeds so that he can kill him. Thank you, my friend, Naruto said as he swung his fist and connected it with the thug's face. The thug was sent sprawling to the floor. Inari, Naruto said, turning to the boy, your old man would be proud of you. Inari beamed at the blonde and smiled widely. Come on, Kushina said, making her presence known to the others. We have to get to the bridge. Naruto nodded at his mother, and the 3 all ran off toward the bridge. Kakashi was in trouble. He was currently in the rematch with Zabuza, and it was not going well. Zabuza had apparently figured out that I took eye contact for the Sharingan to work, and was fighting away from him using the mist to hide and had his eyes closed, meaning he couldn't use the Sharingan illusions. With him was a new figure, Anko. She was tall, shapely, and had on a fishnet shirt that was covered by a trench coat and a short skirt. She had purple hair that was tied up in the shape of a pineapple. Although she immediately got some mixed interactions after calling herself the sexy and single Anko Mitarashi. Flashback. Anko had just introduced herself. Kakashi was now sweating bullets since with her around he wouldn't have a chance to read his Ika Ika Paradise book. Sakura had to admit that this woman was a little bit too open in her choice of clothing. So Kakashi, she said with a smirk, you called for some backup on this mission. I can see why you'd need it. Watch your tongue, Sasuke said. I'm an Uchiha. Your superior. Now I suggest you make sure not to upset me. Anko was quiet. Kakashi made a motion for Sakura to move. They both did, taking Inari, Tsunami, and Tazuna with them. As soon as they were clear, Anko vanished and reappeared with Sasuke facing away from her in a grip. She then took out a kunai, cut his cheek, and then licked the blood off the knife. After a second she spat it out. Yuck! She yelled, worst I've ever tasted. Sakura couldn't help but giggle at the fact that her former crush had just been schooled. Anko then turned to Kakashi. Aren't you missing a brat? She asked. In truth, she was really worried for him. A few years ago she had gotten a little drunk, and some punks thought that they could have some fun with her. Fortunately for her, Naruto showed up. The sight of what was happening really made him mad. Mad enough to draw on some of Kyuubi's chakra. The result was 3 drunk punks with broken bones and a 4th that had his head busted open. Naruto then ran out into the street and made a commotion, making villagers chase him so that Anko could get home with her dignity intact. The sight that they did that to him, though, angered her. It was what made her Anko Mitarashi. You should sit down, Anko, Kakashi said. This is going to be a really long story. Kakashi told her of what had happened, and of Naruto's bloodline. Anko thought it was brave of Naruto to try and save his teammate like that, but she was mad that Sasuke would spit on his grave like that. She was contemplating killing the boy until Kakashi brought up Naruto's parents being alive. She was thrown for one heck of a loop after that. End flashback. When they were done training, they went to guard Tazuna at the bridge. They found the workers all unconscious or dead. Zabuza then made an appearance with the Hunternin that took Zabuza away from danger. Sasuke went to fight the Hunternin while Anko and Kakashi fought Zabuza, and that led to their current predicament. Sakura stood in front of Tazuna with a kunai drawn and was ready to fight. Sasuke was fighting the Hunternin, Haku, and was trapped in a dome of ice mirrors. Sasuke was also doing a very good impression of a porcupine with a lot of needles sticking out of his body. All right, Kakashi, Zabuza said, it's time for me to end this. He lifted up his cleaver of a sword, but as he was about to use it, a cry rang out, water style, water bullet. Zabuza managed to jump out of the way before a massive water ball the size of a beach ball slammed into the spot where he was standing. He followed the trajectory of the shot and found a tall red-headed woman standing a few feet away from them. Kakashi and Anko saw her too, and Anko was wide-eyed. Kei Kushina? She asked, receiving a nod from the woman. Kushina? Zabuza asked, as in Kushina Uzumaki? The Red Death and the Bloody Whirlpool? The very same, Kushina said. Oh boy, Zabuza groaned. Haku, finish off that runt. I'm going to need help over here. More than you know, said a voice behind him. Zabuza spun around just in time to meet a fist to the face. He was sent flying back towards Kushina, who brought back her arm, and then sent a man flying another direction with a strong backhand. Zabuza groaned in pain as he rose up. When he saw who hit him, he nearly lost it. He saw a tall blonde man with a white trench coat with red flames on the bottom, and Konoha's yellow flash written in kanji on the back. Oh crud, was all Zabuza was able to get out. As sensei? Kakashi managed to get out himself. Hey there, Kakashi, Minato said. I see you have a Sharingan eye. Kakashi had the modesty to look sheepish. He had known that there could be consequences to putting a Sharingan eye in a person who doesn't have an Uchiha's blood. Kakashi promptly ignored that because he knew that he owed Obito. I owed Obito-sensei, Kakashi said. I think this is my way of keeping him alive. Okay, Minato said, but when we get back to Konoha you're getting that thing removed or I will have Kushina carve it out. While this was going on, Anko was having a bit of a fangirl moment. Kushina had been her idol when she was a little girl. Right now she was seeing her in person. If it weren't for the fact that they were currently in a fight with enemies, she would have asked for an autograph. Zabuza was sweating bullets. If these two were who he thought he was, then he was going to be in deep crud. Though he had the demon brothers and hiding a little bit away, he doubted that they would be any help at all. He was currently trying to think of ways that he could get out of here when he saw the blonde kid a few feet away from them. He had to risk it. He had to take this kid hostage. Zabuza vanished and then reappeared behind Naruto with his sword drawn and at the ready. HT put it at Naruto's throat. I can't believe I'm resorting to this, Zabuza muttered before speaking louder. Unless you want this run to end up a head shorter, back off and let us go. Kushina and Minato both growled to themselves as they saw their son be taken hostage. Naruto himself was nervous. Before he had managed to beat Zabuza, but that was only with the use of Elion's and Kyuubi's chakra infusion. Without it he was completely toast. Kit! The fox yelled, use the kitsune eye. It should detain him enough for you to get away, for at least try something. Naruto got the message and then focused the fox's chakra into his eyes. When he felt his eyes change a bit he smirked. Hey, he said, Mr. No Eyebrows? Zabuza looked down as Naruto turned around. Look into my eyes. Naruto's eyes opened to reveal a pair of changed eyes. The whites were now black, the iris was always changing shades of red like a lava lamp, and the pupil was now an orange slit. Zabuza made the mistake of looking into the eyes and was instantly plunged into a massive genjutsu. In the genjutsu, Zabuza was still on the bridge, and all the figures had turned to black wisps of smoke. What the heck? Zabuza asked as he looked around. The water under the bridge turned black and started crashing up against the bridge. The entire bridge shook as parts of it broke away from the force of the waves crashing against it. Zabuza was now in panic and decided to run. As he did, he beheld a sight that made his blood run cold. And, I'm not good at describing scenes like this, let me know if it's any good. He saw the bodies of Haku and the demon brothers. They were covered in blood and horribly mangled. Then there was a dark laughing. It started out low and then it burst out into a boisterous laugh. The bridge beneath him shook and parts broke off in front of and behind him. Soon he was only standing on a platform. He looked around and the black water rose up. The sky flashed with lightning. The water began to rise, forming a large monster. It stood about 10 stories high. It had 4 massive arms with clawed fingers. The claws were actually made of ice. It had 4 large glowing eyes, if you could call them that seemed to stare into your soul. Zabuza was paralyzed with fear as he saw the massive monster. He then realized this was some sort of messed up genjutsu. He put his hands together and yelled Kai. Nothing happened. The monster rose one of its arms and swung down. Zabuza jumped back, but wound up with a massive slash mark on his chest. At that moment the genjutsu let up. Zabuza looked around and saw everything as it was before. The only difference was the gash he now had on his chest. He looked forward to see the blonde kid now standing in front of him with a golden sword with blood on the edge of the blade. You little, Zabuza groaned as he felt pain in his chest. What did you do to me? It was a genjutsu that I made with my bloodline, Naruto explained. It looks like it's multilayered too. That's a handy feature. Zabuza narrowed his eyes at this punk. He had been hurt by a little kid twice now. He was never going to be able to live this down from anyone who was watching. He felt something tug his arm and looked to see Haku kneeling beside him helping him up. So the so-called demon of the mist is just a baby demon, said a snide voice. Everyone turned to see a short pudgy man wearing a tux, sunglasses, and holding a cane. Behind him was practically an army of mercenaries. You never planned on paying us, did you? Zabuza asked. Nope, Gato said. You missing ninja are a real pain sometimes. When you do your job I just take care of you and turning your head so I can profit off it. Kakashi, Zabuza said, it doesn't seem like we're enemies anymore. Do me a favor and help me kill this little runt. I plan on, Kakashi said, cracking his knuckles. At that moment the villagers, led by Inari, arrived on the bridge with a bunch of makeshift weapon. I don't think so, you corporate fat cat, Inari said. He had heard his grandfather call him that. That was probably one of the few times that he was sober. Kill them all, Gato yelled to his mercenaries, but leave some of the women. I could use some more entertainment. There was tense silence that was broken by a lot of killing intent. Most of it coming from Naruto and his father. Minato was mad that this guy said that he was going to use his wife as a plaything. You can be that really made him mad. Naruto was seething that someone would dare do something so foul and despicable as this. He felt his anger reach critical levels. Inside of him the two monsters were also quite angry. Kyubi may have been a demon, but even he wouldn't go so low as to do something like this. Elion, well, he was a noble monster. To him this was one of the most heinous crimes a person could commit. Naruto! The dragon growled, I want you to call on my power. Show them the true meaning of divine wrath. The mercenaries were about to start charging when Naruto started to radiate silver chakra. Naruto's eyes were previously closed. When he opened them his eyes were now completely gold. He snarled, showing his teeth sharpening to points. His nails grew to claws. Slowly his skin began to harden. It wasn't noticeable, but it was hardening like dragon scales. The silver chakra flew up and formed a ghost of Elion. The dragon image threw back its head and roared angrily. The chakra focused on Naruto and gave him a chakra cloak. The cloak formed a dragon's tail on the small of his back and a pair of dragon wings on his shoulder blades. His arms were covered in chakra and the chakra formed claws as well. Claws formed on his feet as well. Everyone was staring at the transformed Naruto with awe and horror. The horror was mostly from the mercenaries and the awe was from his friends, although there was huge look of jealousy from Sasuke. The Uchiha was seething at the fact that the so-called dead last had a power that he did not. That he deserved. I will learn your secrets, loser, Sasuke growled. I will gain the power to kill him and then you. Naruto glared at the mercenaries and then let out a massive roar that shook the ground beneath their feet. Forget this freak. Gato yelled, it's some ninja trick. Just go and kill them already. The mercenaries believed his words and then charged at the group. Minato and Kushina both got at the ready as did Anko, Kakashi and Naruto. Sakura just stood in place as the rest of the villagers tensed. Sasuke just stood there. He was waiting to see the strength of the two people Naruto came with. If they were strong, then he would get them to train him. Naruto, the Chunin, and the former Kage all charged at the mercenaries. Zabuza made a signal and the demon brothers joined them. Haku got up and took out a lot of saman. Zabuza grabbed his sword despite the pain in his chest. Kushina with her swords drawn cut down anyone who got in her way. She mostly just moved quick. After she cut one down, she jumped to another and sliced him up. Minato wasn't as quick. He just cracked down all who stood in his way. He used a few winjutsu to knock them back into a group and then used a fire one to burn them all at the same time. Zabuza was just swinging his large sword. The blade either killed whoever he swung it at or it cut off a limb. Anyone who didn't die immediately died from blood loss a few moments later. The demon brothers just hit whoever they could with their claws, or their bladed chain. The ones hit with the chain were cut up badly and died from blood loss. The ones hit with their claws died from the poison. At one point their chain was destroyed. That just made things better. The two were now able to move more freely. The numbers of their fatalities doubled. Haku, though she didn't like it that she had to kill. She used her Senbon and sent them at a few mercenaries, hitting them in the heart. It made her sick to the stomach. She never really did like killing. Kakashi mostly just used his Chidori to cut down as many enemies as he could in one shot. Though it was a little exhausting, he did it anyway. Enko mainly used her striking shadow snakes. She also used some poison-laced kunai to finish off the enemies that weren't killed already. Those who actually managed to get close to them were then taken down hard and beaten within inches of their existences. Naruto seemed to have the most brutal method out of all of them. The chakra claws on his hands tore through each mercenary like a hot knife through butter. Naruto's chakra tail hit each one like a hard whip and practically tore through the mercenaries as well. One mercenary actually tried throwing a spear at the blonde. Naruto just ducked his head back. He glared at the mercenary with ice-cold eyes. Naruto then took a deep breath and shot out a massive burst of flame from his mouth. The golden flames engulfed the mercenary, and a few others. Finally all the mercenaries were dead on the ground. All that stood were the Konoha ninja, the villagers, and one very terrified Gato. Naruto's golden eyes glared at the man with such intensity Gato felt like his soul was being looked into. The boy then stalked toward the short man. Wait! Gato yelled, backing away. Don't! I can give you anything you want. Money, power, women. Please just don't kill me. Can you bring back Inari's father? Naruto asked, his voice taking on a rather vicious tone. Can you bring back all the people you've killed? Gato just remained silent at the teen's feet. I thought not. Naruto, still holding Dragon Claw, raised his sword up and then brought it down. The next thing everyone heard was the sound of metal hitting skin and the sound of a body hitting the floor. Everyone was quiet for a moment. Then the villagers burst out into cheers. Their nightmare was finally over. The silver chakra dissipated and Naruto returned to his regular state. It was that moment that Enko walked up to them. Naruto was standing in place for a moment before he realized what he had done. At that moment he ran over the side of the bridge in blue chunks. The purple-haired woman stood next to Naruto as she finished throwing up his lunch. Hey kid, she said, getting the blonde's attention. Nice work. How's it going, Kakashi? Minato said as he held out his hand to his old student. I've been doing good, Kakashi said. I'd go into it now, but let's go on about this later. I trust that you don't need to know anything about what's happened over the years. No, he answered, I don't. After that, Minato and Kakashi both used some fire jutsu to burn the bodies and Minato used the wind-style one to blow away the ashes. You're Kushina, right? Enko asked, stepping up to her. Yes, the redhead answered. I am. Why? I just want to say that you rock. I can't believe I'm actually meeting you in person. This is one of TH's greatest moments of my life. Can I get an autograph? Enko had gone into fangirl mode and it had a lot of people freaked out. She had been talking at a mile a minute, so Kushina had a little trouble getting all of that down. She did get the autograph part though. Enko took out a pen and paper from who knows where and presented them to Kushina with an enthusiastic grin. The redhead signed it and Enko squealed happily as she did. She turned to everyone present and said, if any of you tell anyone about what just transpired, I will cut off your balls and shove down your throat. And if you're female, I will tear out your eyes and shove those down your throat. All the males and females present paled dramatically as they heard her say this. The men covered their male parts while the women just backed up. Enko smirked, seeing that her reputation was once again saved. As the day had been pretty exhausting, everyone had decided to go back to Itazuna's house. Since Gato was gone, they didn't have to worry about anything, so they decided to work on the bridge tomorrow. Right now everyone was talking. Kakashi was catching his old sensei up on the times, Kushina was discussing a few things with Enko and Zabuza, and Sakura was talking with Naruto about his bloodlines. She was also asking for some training tips. Geizu and Meizu were both hitting on Tsunami, at least until Inari threatened to use them for arrow practice, and that he would put the target in between the legs. Sasuke walked up to Naruto, a greedy gleam in his eye. Where did you get that power dope? He asked. It's part of my bloodline, Naruto answered. That is all I'm going to say on the matter. Where did you get those swords? Sasuke asked. I got them from a weapon shop, was all Naruto answered. Give them to me, he ordered, getting a few looks from everyone who was present in the room. What was that? Naruto asked, gaining an annoyed look in his eye. I said I want those swords, Sasuke repeated, and it's not a request. The day I give you these swords, Naruto growled, is the day that someone calls Chuji fat and he doesn't go ballistic. Meanwhile in Konoha, Chuji crushed his bag of chips and growled loudly. What's wrong with you? Ino asked the boy. I can't help but think, Chuji growled, that someone in the world just called me fat. The boys' team looked at him, and then they all stepped back a good way. They all knew that you don't want to get near Chuji when someone calls him fat. Back with the gang. I said give me those swords, idiot. Sasuke growled, lunging at Naruto only to get hit in the face by Sakura. Everyone stared at her in shock at what the fangirl just did. She looked around and said, when the guy you have a crush on spits on someone who saves your life, the crush tends to die. The next few days were basically uneventful. Luckily the punch to Sasuke's jaw broke it, so no one had to listen to him complain. Naruto and his parents managed to catch up some long-lost bonding time. Naruto got some better practice with his clones by using them to work on the bridge. Zabuza and Haku both agreed to come to Konoha. They were both sick of running from the hunter Nin, and Zabuza told them that his daughter was sick of running around. Everyone was surprised that he regarded the others as his children, but they understood. Sakura had gotten better over her training as well. She had gained larger chakra reserves. Just enough so she could use one shadow clone. She was currently working to try and use two. All the while Sasuke looked down in jealousy. The two dead weights of his team were getting strong, and he was left in the dust. He would make them pay for trying to show him, and Uchiha, up. After a while the bridge was built, and everyone was ready to leave. Do you have to go, big brother? Inari whined. Hey kid, Naruto said, putting his hands on the shoulders of his little brother, don't you go crying on me now. I want you to keep an eye on things here. Take care of you mom and grandpa. Especially your grandpa. Inari laughed as his big brother got up and left for his team. You do know that the council is going to want to hear about your abilities when we get back, Kakashi said, and I know that they will try and demand you hand over your swords to Sasuke. If they try, Minato said, there is going to be hell to pay. I'm with you dear, Kushian said. No one messes with our family and lives. Don't I know it, Naruto said. Sakura just smiled to herself. She was glad that her new friend finally had the family that he deserved. She had gotten over her grief on how she had treated the boy, but she did have some anger toward her parents, or more specifically her mother. She remembered when her mother asked where Naruto was, and she always told her. Her mother would then leave with a large group of friends. Not anymore, she thought, determined. Konoha, Minato thought as he and everyone else walked to their home, or in certain cases new home, get ready for a major wake-up call. The now group of 10 were going toward Konoha. Since they didn't have a civilian to drag them down, they were able to tree jump. Kushina and Minato slowed down their normal pace so that everyone else could keep up. As they all went, Sasuke glared at the back of Naruto's head as if wishing for him to just burst into flames. After a few hours of tree jumping, the group made it to Konoha. As they approached the gate, Kotetsu and Izumo both stood up and faced them. Okay, Izumo said, name and your. He trailed off when he saw the fourth Hokage walking with the group. He actually felt his jaw drop when he saw a few missing ninja and someone whose rank he didn't even know. It fell even further when he saw the red-haired girl that the fourth always hung out with when he was alive. Hello boys, Kushina said as they got closer. Izumo and Kotetsu were both snapped out of their respective stupors when they saw that they were right in front of them. They both regained their composures. Names and your business, Kotetsu said. He made a brief glance at Kushina, which got him a glare from Minato. Kakashi Hatake, Kakashi stated, and his team returning from a mission with a group of former ninja from Konoha and a group who wants to join our ranks. The two nodded as it seemed to check out, as Kushina was the one holding Zabuza's sword and the demon brother's claws were being held by Naruto. The two let them pass and they headed right for the Hokage's office. As they walked in, Kakashi walked up to the secretary. Excuse me, Kakashi said politely, we're here to see the Hokage. Yes, he's expecting you, she said. As they walked past, she gave Naruto a dirty look. She was then give two looks that put hers to shame when Kushina and Minato both glared at her. As she saw the two, the woman looked pale. Then she reached under the desk, pulled out a bottle of sake, went to the nearby window, and poured it all out. Then she put her right hand over her chest and started praying to her god that she would never go anywhere near the stuff. The team entered and Naruto could have sworn he saw a flash of orange before the Hokage looked at them. Team 7, Anko, welcome back, the Hokage greeted. He scanned the group. He saw the missing ninja, but he didn't see his Minato or Kushina. They decided that they would have a little word with him when the team left. Kakashi, the Hokage said sternly, would you mind telling me why there are 3 missing nin and an unknown standing with you in my office, and why Naruto has had a slight change in appearance? Not at all, sir, Kakashi said. You see, we first saw the demon brothers on our way to Wave. Sasuke managed to detain them, and we got information out of them saying that man named Gato had hired them to take out our current client Tizuna. We found out from his why they were after him. A while down the road we had our encounter with Zabuza here. During that encounter Naruto died. The Hokage jumped out of his seat when he heard that, but Kakashi motioned for him to stop and that he would explain. Kakashi continued, after his so-called death Naruto seemed to unlock a powerful bloodline. This enabled him to heal, to change physically like he is now, and then kick Zabuza's eyebrow less, but Zabuza glared at Kakashi while the others stifled laughs. After that we continued to wave where we continued to guard him. We encountered Zabuza on the bridge a week later. During that encounter we met 2 other characters who would like to have a little word with you when this is over. Anyway, Naruto showed up with these 2 characters and we managed to beat Zabuza, who showed up with his daughter here. He motioned to Haku. After we beat them, Gato showed up and he said a few things that got under all of our skins. Basically we charged in, killed a whole lot of mercenaries, and finally Naruto killed Gato. The Hokage stiffened when he heard that. What happened when Naruto killed Gato? He asked, hoping he would have to do anything to his surrogate grandson. He went to the side of the bridge and threw up practically everything he ate for breakfast and lunch, Anko said. The Hokage felt a little relief. Since Naruto didn't like the killing, it meant that it wasn't a moment when the fox had taken over. Okay, the Hokage said, the ninja participating in this mission will receive payment for an A-ranked mission. Kakashi, I want you to stay along with the missing Nin. The others all left. The Hokage did some discreet hand signs and put up a silencing jutsu. The old man then looked at Kakashi with a serious face. Kakashi, he said, I can't help but feel that there is something that you left out of the explanation. There is, Kakashi said, the chakra that healed Naruto wasn't the Kyuubi's. The Hokage gasped, as did all the others in the room. I knew it! Zabuza yelled, I knew that kid was a Jinchuriki. You knew too, San? Haku asked. When you said the kid was talking to himself, I guessed, Zabuza explained. Plus that chakra he used in our first encounter was nowhere near being human. Yes, Kakashi said, turning to the Hokage. Anyway, it turns out Naruto has a second tenant. This one being a dragon by the name of Elion. That is pretty much what saved him. A dragon? Sarutobi asked. Yes, the silver-haired man explained. In addition, Naruto gained 2 bloodlines. As he heard, the Hokage heart gave out for a few seconds. He could tell because the area around his vision became dark for a second. He breathed heavily to gain his senses and bearings. What are they exactly? The Hokage asked. Well, Kakashi explained, the first he calls the Dragon's Eye. It allows he to get a basic understanding of a technique and to copy bloodlines. I think Naruto will only use that last part as a last resort. The second he calls the Kitsune. It allows him to cast powerful genjutsu, and even see through them. The Hokage was currently drooling over the fact that Naruto had these abilities. Kakashi continued, he also came into possession of 2 swords that work well with Kyuubi's and Elion's chakra. I don't know what he calls them, but he knows how to basically use them. He doesn't use them much though. The Hokage looked at Kakashi and nodded. Now, the Hokage said, moving on. What are these missing Nin doing here? After our final confrontation, the Jonin sensei explained, they decided to come with us. Zabuza was sick of running and he decided to let the demon brothers come as well as his adopted daughter Haku. What are your skills? The old fire shadow asked. Well, Zabuza said, I'm very strong in the use of a sword and the demon brothers here are about Chunin in power and very good at sneak attacks. Haku has a bloodline that allows her to use ice and she's about Chunin in strength. The old man was quiet for a minute. He was considering the pros and cons of this. The village could use some more assassins. He thought for a minute and then came to a decision. All right, the old man said after a few minutes, Haku will be given the rank of Chunin, but the demon brothers will be on a 3-week probation and Zabuza on 5-week probation. All the while they will be under watch. At the end of their probation, the demon brothers will receive the rank of Chunin and Zabuza the rank of Jounin. Agreed? Agreed, they 4 said. Good, the old man said smiling. Now send in those 2 who wanted to have a word with me. Yes sir, Kakashi said while walking out the door, and good luck. The old man was about to ask why when Minato and Kushina made their entrance. The old man grinned as they walked in, but his face grew worried when he saw the angry looks on their faces. Old man, Minato said with an angered look on his face, we need to talk. Meanwhile, Naruto was making his way to his apartment. He was currently having a pleasant conversation with Sakura. They were both giving each other ideas for training. Naruto suddenly stopped. Naruto? Sakura asked, what is it? Naruto sniffed the air for a minute, then he growled slightly. He shot off and in the direction of the smell. Naruto had smelt something foul. When he did, something kicked in, and he tried to find the source of the stink. What kicked in was an old instinct. Since Naruto now had some of the fox in him, he had some fox instincts. Luckily he didn't have the one that told him to dominate mates while they were in heat. He did however have one that made him have to fight other males for dominance. And right now he was smelling someone who was a threat to that. He followed the scent for a few minutes before he came across the source of the smell. He looked down at teammate. The scent was coming off of Kiba. Kiba was chatting idly with his teammate when he smelled something. He looked over to see Naruto. Bye guys, Kiba said, I have something to take care of. He motioned for Naruto to follow him, and he did. The 2 ran until they found a training ground. The 2 then faced each other. You should back down, Kiba, Naruto growled, before you get hurt. No way, dead last, Kiba said, I'm going to beat you down. Akamaru, Kiba's dog, jumped down and was about to enter the fight until Naruto focused his chakra and his eyes turned red with black slits. Akamaru whimpered and backed away. Naruto smirked and let more of the fox's chakra course through him. His nails grew sharper and his teeth sharpened to a point. His whisker marks became slightly darker. He wasn't using enough to radiate the chakra. He was just using enough to make himself look more feral. Your dog knows when to back down, Naruto growled. I'm giving you one last chance. Kiba just activated his family jutsu. His nails grew sharper and he got a more feral appearance. The two glared at each other, and then charged at one another. Kiba swung his claws and Naruto ducked. He brought a strong uppercut to Kiba's jaw, sending him back. Kiba regained his bearings and growled loudly. He charged at Naruto and spun like a drill. Tunneling Fang! Naruto jumped to the side to avoid it. Naruto sent a strong punch to the side of Kiba's head. The Inuzuka was sent flying a few feet. He slammed into a tree. He growled as he got up and shook his head. He roared in anger, and Naruto roared right back. The two charged at each other again. Just as they were about to hit each other again, a green blur shot out of nowhere. The green blur appeared in between Kiba and Naruto. It was a guy with an ugly bowl haircut, large eyes and eyebrows, a green jumpsuit with orange leg warmers, and bandage wrapped around his arms and hands. He shot out both arms and caught Kiba's clawed hand. He managed to catch Naruto's punch, but he grimaced as he did. Stop this! The boy yelled. It is most unyouthful for comrades to fight. Back off, punk, Kiba snarled. This is a fight to show who's the leader of the pack, so back off. Forgive me, the boy said. I did not know this was a battle for dominance. I shall stand aside. The strange boy jumped off to the side and Naruto and Kiba went right back at each other's throats. Unknown to either of them, their chakras were being felt somewhere else. At the Inuzuka complex, Kiba's mother Tsum and his sister Hana were tending to the dogs in the kennel when they started to whimper. As they did, the two female Inuzukas looked at each other. You don't think Hana started but stopped when her mother rushed out the door. Tsum sniffed the air and knew that this had something to do with her son. What did Kiba get into this time? She thought as she ran toward the source with her daughter in tow. As she ran, she was joined by Kakashi. Tsum, he called. What's going on? I don't know, Tsum called back. I think Kiba may have gotten in some kind of trouble. Why are you heading there? I'm sensing Naruto's chakra along with Kiba's, Kakashi explained. Any idea what's going on? Tsum was about to answer until she sniffed the air. The air was thick with pheromones. She also recognized the smell. It was Naruto's. Tsum, what is it? Kakashi asked as she came to a halt. The air, Tsum said, it's thick with Naruto's pheromones. It's a good thing I had a husband, otherwise Tsum turned around to see Hana with a wild look on her face. Before she could say anything, Hana rushed off with a feral grin that Tsum knew all too well. Kakashi, we have to stop her! Tsum yelled as she and silver-haired man chased after the girl. Why? Kakashi asked as they gave chase. What happened to her? The pheromones, Tsum explained. Normally a woman would have to be in close quarters with Naruto for them to take effect, but with our sense of smell we can smell them from here. The smell brought out Hana's wild side. I'm not affected because I've already had a mate. Kakashi nodded in understanding. They both knew that they had to stop Hana before she did something that they both would regret. Back at the battle, Kiba and Naruto were panting in exertion. Naruto's jacket was ripped as was Kiba's. All the while the green-clad boy was watching in interest. It was not every day you got to see two people fight like rabid animals. Naruto glared at Kiba and growled. He was about to charge at him again when he was tackled by someone that wasn't Kiba. Naruto looked up to see Hana holding him in a tight and grip and looked like she would let go. Hana grinned before kissing him deeply. Naruto in his feral state let his instincts guide him and kissed her back. At that moment Tsum and Kakashi arrived to see this. Kakashi, though he looked worried on the outside, was mentally cheering for his student kissing a really hot girl. Tsum was looking at her daughter worriedly. Suddenly Hana's eyes snapped open and she broke away from Naruto. She turned and growled at her mother. She held Naruto tighter like she was trying to protect something precious of hers. Tunneling Fang! Naruto and Hana separated from each other to avoid the spinning drill that was Kiba Inuzuka. He stopped spinning and landed a few feet away and yelled, Stay away from my sister. Tsum took advantage of her daughter's momentary distraction and rushed over. She brought her hand down on Hana's neck, knocking her out. Naruto looked over to see Hana out cold. Kiba took advantage of Naruto's distraction and charged at him. Naruto, however, sensed him coming. He turned around and sent a clawed hand over Kiba's face. Kiba was knocked back a little bit. Naruto then took a deep breath and roared. The result was a blast of sonic waves that hit Kiba hard. Kiba clutched his ears and screamed in pain. Naruto rushed forward and threw a hard punch that sent Kiba into a nearby tree, knocking him out. Naruto growled and threw back his head, roaring again. This one meant to let the animals know this was his territory, and that he was top dog. Wow, Tsum thought, that kid really knows how to mark his territory. If he was a few years older. No. Bad Tsum. It's the pheromones talking. Naruto reverted to his normal self and groaned slightly. He shook his head to clear the cobwebs. My friend, the green-clad boy exclaimed, that was a most youthful battle. You flames of youth burn brightly. Naruto looked at the boy. He remembered him stopping the fight for a few seconds. It was then he realized he didn't even know his name. I'm sorry, but who are you? Naruto asked. Oh, forgive me, the boy said. I am Konoha's beautiful green beast Rock Lee. At that moment 3 other people showed up. One was an older version of Rock Lee. Another was a boy who had long hair and was Hyuga from what Naruto could tell because of the eyes. And a cute girl with brown eyes and her hair up in toe buns. Naruto, what happened here? Kakashi asked. I'm not sure, Naruto said. I think I was just have a puberty moment, or something. Anyway, we might want to get Kiba home. He might have broken something. Some went over and picked up her son. She nodded at Naruto approvingly. Naruto didn't want this other team to know about his change over the mission to Wave. Naruto couldn't help but feel bad about lying to someone, but it beat having a team out for his blood like most of the village. Well, Naruto, Kakashi said, I believe it's time that you went home. We'll have a team meeting tomorrow around 9. Naruto nodded and then he turned to Lee. Nice meeting you, Lee, Naruto said, and he turned to Lee's team. Nice to meet you too, he added, giving a wink to Tenten. The bun-haired girl couldn't help but blush as he winked at her. Naruto turned around and walked home. As he walked home, he noticed some people were looking at him, but not in the same you discuss freak way. Some were looking at him in interest, and some of the girls had a heart in their eyes. Naruto made it home without incident. As soon as he got home, he opened up a thing of instant ramen. When he did, Elian spoke up. Child, if you want to grow strong, you will have to eat other foods, said the dragon. I can't really do that since the other stores won't sell me anything other than the filthy junk that should be in the trash can right now, Naruto said, feeling dejected. Maybe you should try hinging into another form and shop in that. It would help you get past the arrogant pricks who work there, the dragon suggested. Naruto thought it over and thought it was a good idea. Just so long as he didn't run into a Hyuga there. Oh, who was he kidding? The Hyugas were too arrogant to mingle with, how they put it, commoners. Naruto had just finished his ramen when an ANBU in a wolf mask appeared out of nowhere. Uzumaki-san, he said, the council has asked for your presence. Naruto nodded and grabbed his jacket. He then ran out the door for the Hokage Tower where the council chambers were located. Meanwhile, in the council room, Kakashi along with his team, Zabuza, Haku, and the demon brothers all stood waiting for Naruto. Naruto arrived a few minutes later. What's going on? Naruto asked. The others just shrugged their shoulders. One of the civilian council members stood up. We are here, he said, because you have tainted our village by brining these missing yin here. Why have you done this, boy? Well, Naruto said, as the old man probably already told you, they came here for a place to stay. I mean, they do have a few things that they could contribute to the village. And what could they contribute? The sane councilman asked. Why don't they tell you? Naruto asked. Gladly, Zabuza said, I have incredible skill in swordsmanship. I can also teach a new generation of sword fighters the silent killing technique. The demon brothers here have skill in assassination and a basic knowledge of poisons. The council was quiet for a moment. They were considering the pros and cons of this like the Hokage had been doing before. They knew that this man would make a good teacher for the Uchiha, and with skill like that they could kill the demon child. Then their eyes fell on Haku. What can she do? A pink-haired councilwoman asked. She, Zabuza said, starting to get a bad feeling, has an incredible aim and has a bloodline that give her the ability to control ice. The council perked up at this. They could always use a new bloodline. Plus, if they could get her to breed with the Uchiha, then they could get a stronger Uchiha clan. The demon had just brought their dreams closer to being fulfilled. We propose, the pink-haired councilwoman began, that Zabuza and the demon brothers teach the Uchiha all that they know and that the young girl be betrothed to the Uchiha and become his wife when he turns 16. Motion denied, the Hokage said, shocking the council. What do you mean denied? The pink-haired woman screeched, making everyone cover their ears in pain. Did I really sound like that? Sakura thought as she heard her mother yell. I mean, Sarutobi said, I'm the one in charge and I call the shots. Not some civilian pricks who've let a little bit of power go right to their heads. The civilian council all paled as they heard this. If the Hokage got all his power back, then they would never be able to get their hands on the demon brat. The Hokage sank back in his chair as he thought about what brought on this change in him. Flashback. Sarutobi was currently pinned to the wall by the throat, being glared at by Minato and Kushina. Or in this case a very, very angry mother and father. You, Minato said in a deadly whisper, have 6 seconds to tell me why no one carried out my so-called dying wish, or I will paint this office with your body parts. Sarutobi gulped loudly. Despite the fact his throat was currently being crushed, he told them why he hadn't done a good job of protecting their son. It was mostly the fault of the council because the shinobi clans had always tried to adopt Naruto. It was the civilian council that kept him from letting Naruto have a family. When he finished, the two parents had to restrain themselves from both releasing a monster load of killing intent and going down and killing every last one of the civilian council members. Old man, Minato growled, only few people know of our existence. The next time the council tries to pull something, let us know, and we'll let them know that we are alive and well. Also, you need to grow a backbone. You can't let these civilian punks push you around like that. The next time they do something, take charge and show them who's boss. With those words, Minato dropped the old man, and he and his wife vanished in a sudden shushin. They are right, the old man thought. I'm the Hokage around here and it's high time I acted like it. End flashback. Hokage-sama, be reasonable, said a councilwoman. They can help the Uchiha grow stronger. Enough. The old man growled, I don't care. We are not having them teach the Uchiha, and we aren't marrying the girl to him either. And before you say anything, we aren't putting the girl under the CR either. I'm with you on that, Zabuza growled. I'm not having my daughter turned into a breeding machine for a bunch of greedy old farts. On another note, said Hayashi, not liking this part, we have received complaints from the Uchiha that he was denied weaponry from the Uzumaki boy. Secretly Hayashi had sent some Hyuga to protect Naruto when he was a boy. He knew Naruto was Minato's son. Minato had introduced him to his wife Hitomi before he died. He owed the man and he knew that protecting his son was the way to do it. What's he whining about now? Naruto asked. He said that you stole a pair of swords from him, Some said. She knew that that was a complete and total load of crud. I have weapons in my possession, yes, Naruto said, but I did not take them from him. They were given to me by some allies of mine. May we see them? Asked a man who was completely wrapped up in bandages. Naruto shrugged and unsealed the swords in his arm. As the red and gold blades came into view, everyone was in shock at the workmanship of the two swords. Zabuza admired them since he didn't get the chance to earlier. Kakashi, Sakura, Haku, the demon brothers, and pretty much all the shinobi clan heads gazed at the beauty of the weapons, and Sasuke, he just looked at them greedily along with civilian council. Child, the bandaged man said, it is obvious that you have stolen those swords from the Uchiha. You are to return them to him immediately. Not on your life, you mummified weirdo, Naruto growled. This made the civilian council glare, the shinobi council hide snickers, and pretty much everyone else laugh, except Sasuke, who was glaring at Naruto for denying him weapons. The pink-haired woman looked at Sakura with a shocked look on her face. You agree with him? She asked. Sakura stopped laughing and glared at the woman. Yes, I do, Sakura said. I learned Sasuke isn't the man I thought he was. Naruto took a sword from me and Sasuke spit on his grave. As of my last mission, I don't want anything to do with him. The pink-haired woman growled and was about to start yelling when the Hokage stopped her. That is enough, Lady Haruno, the Hokage said, stopping her. Naruto will not hand over those swords as they are clearly his. The civilian council was seething and so was Sasuke. If he won't give me those swords, I'll take them. Sasuke yelled. Sasuke ran across the council room and tried to make a grab for Naruto's swords. He managed to grab onto Dragon Claw's handle, but as he did he felt his hand burn as silver chakra flared around the handle. Sasuke yelled out in pain as his hand burned and he stepped back. His hand was now red and had a scorched mark on his palm. He could still use his hand, but it would be a while before he could use his fist. What was that, loser? Sasuke asked through gritted teeth. That, Naruto said, was a security measure. If anyone other than me touches my swords, they get burned. Elian sent Naruto a little more information regarding it, and that was a low setting, so unless you want your entire hand burned off, I suggest you not do that again. Sasuke glared at the boy as if a glare would make him submit. Man, this guy is a total imbecile. Now that is out of the way, Naruto said, can I go home now? Go ahead, Naruto, the old fire shadow said. I'm sorry that we wasted all of your time. They all nodded. The ninja summoned left. The council got up to leave but was stopped by the Hokage. Before you go, Sarutobi said, there are some people who would like to speak to you. The doors opened and everyone nearly had heart failure at what they saw. Minato and Kushina both stepped into the room and looked at council. The shinobi council looked a little relieved while the civilian council looked about ready to wet themselves. It's high time we had a little talk, Minato said in a dangerous voice. As he said that, the door closed and outside an ANBU put up a silencing barrier, so no one could hear what was going on. Yandame-sama, the Haruno councilwoman cried, I knew you would come back to kill the demon and rid our village of its taint. The next thing the woman knew, her head was grabbed by a very angry Minato, and her skull was slammed down on the desk she was sitting at. There was now a Haruno forehead-sized hole in said table with the pink-haired woman's head stuck in it. Yandame-sama, a councilman said, what are you doing? No one, Minato growled. No one calls my son a demon. As son? Koharu stuttered. Yes, Minato growled, my son. The one you've hurt, neglected, and tried to kill is the son of your savior. There is no way. Another councilman yelled, there is no way that demon child is the son of. The man was cut off when Kushina appeared in front of him, and swung her sword cutting off his head. She glared at the civilian council with a very angry glare. Does anyone else have anything to say about our child? She asked with a very threatening voice. The council paled. Sim heard what she said and laughed out loud. Yes. She turned to Shikaku Nara. I told you they got married. Pay up. Troublesome, Shikaku groaned as he handed her some Rio. You were betting on my love life. Kushina yelled. Sim grinned. She and Kushina became quick friends when she bashed in a pervert's head who tried to feel her up. Kushina instantly became one of the first girls of the pervert's bane, a group of women who couldn't stand perverts, and would hurt them if they ever tried anything on anyone. Well, it was obvious you two were together, Sim said. I mean, you two did spend a lot of time together. Mr. Lazy Bones over here didn't believe you were together. We made a bet to see if you two were. Of course the QB attack kept us from find out just that. The only reason I remembered was because I don't get cheated out of money. Anyway, Minato said, getting everyone's attention, what I want to know is why the hell you didn't go through with my dying wish and see Naruto as hero like he was supposed to be seen. He needed to learn its place, an arrogant councilman said. A demon should be at our feet like the whipped dog it was supposed to be. He would have regretted his decision if his head was suddenly ripped from its shoulders. Minato now gripping the man's head threw it to the side. Well, Minato said, I think you should know a few things about a Jinchuriki. First off, the demon can only take over the host if the host's mind is broken. Everyone felt their hearts stop. You, Hamura muttered, you mean that? Yes, Kushina said, Every time you tried to hurt Naruto-kun, you were driving him closer to the edge and to the oblivion of this village. In all honesty though, given how this village has fallen, I wouldn't regret this place being burned down. Now, Minato said with a grin, since I'm back I'll be taking back my position as Hokage, and my first order of business is that the civilian council be disbanded, and the advisors be replaced with more level-headed people. You can't do that. One civilian yelled in anger. I can and I did, Minato said. Now get out before I get mad and kill every last one of you. The civilians and advisors all got out of there before they had to face the wrath of their savior. Truth be told, a lot of people didn't see this coming. Of course they should have expected that he was alive since they didn't really find any body. Some were kicking themselves for not making sure he was dead, and were scheming to get back at him. Minato sighed to himself. Thank God those people are out of the way. They were nothing but a pain, he said with a happy grin. And thanks for taking my place, Sarutobi said. I'm getting way too old for this. Yeah, Minato agreed. Well, me and wife are going home and we're taking out boy with us. The two then walked out of the council room. Naruto stood waiting for them, as was Sakura. Both parents noticed that Sakura was crying and Naruto looked a little pissed off. Child, Kushian said, what did wrong? Sakura's mom, Naruto growled. She disowned her. What? Minato growled. Flashback. A few minutes ago. You little witch! Rose Haruno yelled as she rose her hand to strike her daughter. How dare you become friend with that demon? Naruto is not demon! Sakura yelled, causing her mother to stop and everyone else to hear her. He saved my life on our last mission. Would a demon do that? If there is any demon here, it's you. All of you. You hurt a boy for something he had no control over. He protected our village by keeping that monster at bay, and you only hurt him. You have no right to call yourselves human. That's it. Rose yelled. I will not be spoken to like that by a little whore. You are not longer my daughter. Do not bother coming back or I will kill you myself. Naruto had had enough. He took out one of his swords and swung it. Rose screamed as her face was cut. She too ran to yell at the boy but was cut off when he glared at her, his eyes now blood red with black slits. Leave, Naruto snarled. Now. In panic of what they saw, the former council members ran for it. After a few seconds, Naruto calmed down and reverted back to normal. End flashback. Kushina got down on her knees and held the crying girl. It's okay, child, she said soothingly. You are welcome to stay with us. I am? She asked. You were friends with our boy here, Minato said, putting in his 2 cents. I mean, if he wants you to stay. Sakura looked at Naruto pleadingly. Well, Naruto said, I guess since you aren't a fangirl anymore, I guess you can stay with us. However, if you have anything to talk about, do me and my dad a favor and take it up with my mom. Plus you might want to be ready for some heavy training because I think Kakashi-sensei will be taking it seriously. Plus I think I know a way we can get back at that little hussy. How? The former Haruno asked. On occasion, Naruto explained, I did pay attention in class. From what I remember, we can file what your former mother did as an act of treason since she did it in spite and on account that it was under a law that has yet to be provoked. In that case we can take all her stuff and leave it to you. Sakura grinned like a mad woman and hugged the boy in front of her. Naruto knew it was just an appreciate hug. Naruto had gotten over his crush on her some time ago. With plan of revenge in mind, the group went home. Meanwhile, in the Konoha hospital, Kakashi sat in a hospital bed with his headband sitting in position on his forehead. He had bandages over his eye, meaning that he had in fact gotten the Sharingan eye removed. He was just sitting there relaxing when the last person he expected entered the room. Kakashi, my eternal rival, Guy said with enthusiasm, but trying to stay quiet. What are you doing in this place on such a youthful night? First of all, Guy, why are you here? Kakashi asked. Oh, Guy explained, me and my students were sparring. Tenten seemed distracted and hit Lee with a kunai in a very tender area by mistake. Ouch, Kakashi said. Guy could only nod. That was when he noticed that Kakashi had bandages on his Sharingan eye. My friend, Guy said, why do you have those bandages on your eye? Did you get hurt on your last mission? No, Kakashi said, I did some thinking over my last mission. Something happened and I don't want that bloodline anymore. Besides, after using it I forgot that my family had its own gift. I wanted to get rid of the eye as a request of someone I knew and that it is only a shortcut. If I want to do something I have to do it on my own. Guy was quiet. Kakashi looked to see that Guy now had large anime tears running down his face. He put his forearm to his eyes to wipe the tears away. That was beautiful, Kakashi, Guy said, sobbing. Well, Kakashi said, the nurse said I had to rest, so I'm going to hit the hay. Right, Guy said, turning to leave. Oh, and Guy, Kakashi said as his eternal rival left, I was wondering if we could spar tomorrow. I'm trying to work my strength back up to when I was an ANBU captain. Guy looked at his self-proclaimed eternal rival and grinned. He gave him a thumbs up and said, you go at my eternal rival. Kakashi I smiled and laid his head back down as Guy left and turned out the lights. Kakashi closed his good eye and went to sleep. Meanwhile, with the Namikaze's family and Sakura, the family and recently no-named Sakura were both walking through the Shinobi district. Minato found a large vacant lot. He walked to the center of it where there was a large red spiral symbol. Minato cut his thumb, and then smeared some blood, and in the center of the spiral, the ground beneath everyone shook. Then out of the ground rose a massive complex as big as the Hyuga complex. There was quick tour of the place, and Naruto was surprised to find out that everything was as fresh as the day they were put in. How is it that everything works? Naruto asked his father. Well, Minato explained, I put up some preservation seals around the place in case I had to hit things. To be honest, I have a lot of powerful jutsu here and a lot of people would have wanted to get their hands on them. Naruto nodded, understanding his father's logic. The group then went upstairs and found the bedrooms. Naruto got his own, as did Sakura. Minato and Kushina were sharing one. Though Naruto might not have been one of the smartest of people, he could understand what it meant when two older people wanted to share a room. Luckily, Minato had silent seals all over the house. The next day, Naruto rose up to the smell of cooking bacon. He immediately got up, changed into some clothes and ran downstairs. It was pretty much the same outfit he wore during his mission in Wave. Naruto ran down to the kitchen to find his mother cooking breakfast and his father already wolfing down a stack of pancakes. Sakura was also wolfing down food which was unlike her. Who are you and what have you done with Sakura? Naruto asked, getting the girl to giggle. The only reason I was on a diet, Sakura said, after she swallowed her food, was to try and look good for Sasuke. After my crush on him died, I realized that it was just plain stupid. Naruto nodded in understanding. Kushina set down a big thing of pancakes at his seat and motioned for him. Naruto sat down, poured on a little syrup, and ate like a pig. After breakfast, the Fairy and guest went out back to get a little bit of training and to try and work off some of their breakfast. Plus, just because Kakashi-sensei was going to be 2 hours late doesn't mean that they should have to wait that long for their training to start. Naruto and Sakura were sparring and Minato and Kushina were both watching them. Sakura had gotten better in the art of taijutsu. She was now proficient enough to actually punch someone hard when she wasn't really angry. Naruto and her were currently in a grappling match. Then something weird happened. Sakura started to radiate a different type of chakra. Her body gave off a brownish glow, and his eyes turned from green to brown. Then she lifted Naruto up and then threw him across the courtyard. I mean literally across the courtyard. From the middle of it to the other wall. Oh man! Sorry, Naruto! Sakura yelled as she ran over to check on her friend. What was that? Naruto asked in a dazed voice. He had big swirls for eyes at the moment, and was currently a little out of it. I don't know, Sakura said. While we were fighting, I felt something. I drew on it and I don't know. Boy, Alien said, I think I know what happened. Ask the girl if you can have a look at her back. Naruto was surprised as he heard this. Minato and Kushina were both helping their son stand. Sakura, Naruto said, I know how this is going to sound, but can I take a look at your back? What? Sakura asked, yelled. Hey! Naruto yelled, one of my tenants thinks he might know what it is you just did. The night before, Naruto had told Sakura that he had another tenant, and that is what saved his life. To be honest, Sakura was pretty shocked, but she was happy that that is what saved her new friend on the Wave mission. Sakura growled at the boy slightly. She turned around and lifted the back of her battle kimono up. As she did, Minato, Kushina, and Naruto gasped. On Sakura's back right below her shoulders was what looked like the tattoo of a large falcon. The bird was in a circle of chains and there was the kanji for earth in the upper left corner. Sakura, Naruto asked, when did you get a tattoo? I don't have a tattoo, Sakura said. Minato pulled them inside and pulled her in front of a mirror, and Sakura saw the mark. So Naruto, Kushina said as Sakura was contemplating what the mark meant. What is that? Let me ask, Naruto said. That, Alien explained, is the mark of the falcons. A long time ago they were one of the strongest summons. They were the only ones who were able to use not only the elements of earth, fire, water, lightning, and wind, but the sub-elements metal, ice, wood, boil, steam, poison, storm, and lava. During their years there was a war between the summons. After it they vanished. It was said that one day a human would be marked as the one who would summon them. Apparently this girl is the one. Unfortunately, it looks like the seal is blocked. From what I can tell, it's also limited her chakra capacity. Naruto relayed all the information to his parents and Sakura. Everyone was in complete shock. This seal had blocked the strength she should have right now. I'll see if I can get rid of this, Minato said, that is if she wants to be rid of it. Sakura nodded. She wanted rid of the seal that was suppressing her strength. Minato cracked his knuckles and placed his hands on Sakura's back along with a piece of paper. Then he focused chakra into his hands. Slowly the chains on the tattoo receded onto the paper and left. Sakura felt something wither her, be set free. Sakura groaned as her hair changed from pink to red. Sakura fell to the ground in a heap when Minato took his hands off of her back. Naruto went to help his friend up. Naruto was shocked to find that the Sakura's eyes now had a bluish ring around her eyes. You alright? Naruto asked. Yeah, she said, I'm fine. Naruto grinned at her, then he looked at the clock and started to panic. Kakashi's going to be at the training ground in a few minutes. He yelled. Sakura's eyes were wide now. She knew that she was always hard on him when he was late. She didn't want to get the same treatment. Sorry, Mom and Dad, Naruto said as Sakura got up. We got to go now, bye. The two shot out like rockets, leaving behind a major dust trail. They also left Naruto and Sakura shaped holes in the door since they didn't open the door. The two parents just stared at the hole the two teenagers made in their door. I'm not fixing that, they both said at the same time. Meanwhile at Training Ground 7, Sasuke had been waiting for about 2 hours for both his teammates and his sensei. Sasuke was kind of annoyed. How was he supposed to master his Sharingan if he couldn't even train with anyone? That was when he noticed a large dust cloud. He saw 2 figures at the front of it, but he couldn't tell who they were. When they got closer he saw that it was Naruto and some red-headed girl. After a few seconds the 2 screeched to a stop in front of Sasuke. The 2 were breathing hard because they pretty much just ran a marathon in a few minutes. Almost as soon as they caught their breath, Kakashi showed up. "Yo," Kakashi said. He then noticed the redhead. "Who are you?" he asked, not recognizing Sakura. "It's me, Kakashi-sensei," Sakura said, making both of Kakashi's eyes widen. "Sakura?" he asked. "What happened to you?" "Sakura unlocked some crazy bloodline," Naruto said. "We're not sure what it does exactly, but it changed her appearance." It was then Naruto noticed that Kakashi had both eyes out and both of them were normal. He also noticed that they looked a little beat up. "Kakashi-sensei," Naruto said, "where's your Sharingan eye and why do you look beat up?" "In order," Kakashi answered, "I had my Sharingan eye removed because when it comes to power that thing is a shortcut. And I'm beat up because I just got out of a sparring match with Might Guy and he doesn't know the meaning of the words hold back." Naruto accepted the answer. It also seemed an actually good reason for him to be late and to look like he just walked away from a train wreck. Sasuke was a little annoyed that he called the Sharingan a shortcut. It was the way to true power. "So," Kakashi said, "today we're going to start some special training today." "What kind of training, sensei?" Naruto asked, getting a little excited, but not jumping around like he normally did. During his training with Elian and Kiba on the Wave mission they had managed to breaking him of some of those habits. "Elemental training," Kakashi answered, taking out a few pieces of paper. "These," he explained, "is chakra paper. If you focus chakra into it the paper will react, allowing you to know your elemental affinity. Earth turns it to dust, lightning causes it to crumple, fire ignites it, water soaks it, and wind splits it in half." He gave a piece of it to Sasuke and he focused chakra into it. The paper crumpled up and then caught fire. Afraid that he would get burned, Sasuke dropped it. 2 affinities, Kakashi said, impressive. Kakashi was going to train Sasuke, but he wasn't going to obsess about it. He was going to train the other 2 just as much. He was still mad at Sasuke for what happened over the mission. He told Sarutobi and said that the Uchiha would get a mental exam in a few days if Sasuke didn't come back, saying he was dropped from the program. "Your turn, Sakura," Kakashi said, handing her a piece of the paper. Sakura focused her chakra and there was one heck of a reaction. The paper split into 4 pieces. 1 piece caught fire, another crumpled up, another turned to dust, and another got soaked. Then the water and fire touched and a bit of the water started to boil, and some started to give off steam. Some of the earth and water mixed and formed wood, while the earth and fire mixed and formed a metal and a small amount of lava. Some of the water froze and some turned purple. "Whoa," Kakashi said, both eyes wide in complete shock. "I'd say you have one heck of a bloodline, Sakura." Sakura could only nod dumbly. Though she already knew that her new abilities gave her this kind of power, she couldn't comprehend what kind of power she could have when she was older. Sasuke was looking at her with a greedy look in his eye. With that kind of power he could use her. Naruto noticed Sasuke's look and leveled a vicious glare at the last Uchiha. "Okay, Naruto, your turn." Kakashi handed Naruto some of the paper. Naruto focused and there was a very strange reaction. The paper split into 6 sections. 1 caught fire, another grew damp, another turned to dust, another crumpled up, 1 part turned black, and the last part gave off a slight glow. Everyone was staring at the paper with looks of complete and total shock. "Naruto," Kakashi said, "it looks like your bloodline gave you some strong affinities too. Though I've never heard of a light affinity. Maybe you should go to your mother about this." "I think I should," Naruto answered, then asked mentally, "Kiba Elian, did either of you have anything to do with this?" "Yes," the dragon said, "during the merge the fox gave you the abilities of the 5 main elements and the dark element. You can control the sub-elements too. The light element came from me. From what I can tell, your mother and father can teach you some of the main and sub-elemental jutsu, and so can your sensei. We'll teach you the light and dark techniques." Naruto nodded, understanding the answers. "Well," Kakashi said, taking some scrolls from out of who knows where, "these jutsu are basic ones. When you master these I'll give you some more of them." Sasuke took a scroll on a fire and lightning jutsu. What he didn't know was that these were relatively weak ones. They were fire style, fire spin, and lightning style, thunderbolt. "Yes, I got those from Pokemon, but they aren't really that strong." Kakashi gave Sakura 5 main element jutsu. She got fire style, fireball jutsu, earth style, earth shaker, water style, water bullet, lightning style, thunderball, and wind style, great breakthrough. Naruto got 5 main element jutsu as well. He got fire style, flame grenade, water style, water dragon, earth style, arms of Gaia, lightning style, storm shock, and wind style, great tornado. All 3 went to separate parts of the training ground to practice. Sakura did a few chakra control exercises first before she started practicing. She did those for a little bit, rested, and then started on her techniques. Sasuke just started on his jutsu immediately. He was also planning on going to the council to try and get Sakura to marry him so that she could bear him strong children with that bloodline of hers. Oh, poor psychotic, self-obsessed, misguided fool. Naruto decided to see if he could try to understand his jutsu first. It was one thing to know a jutsu and it was another to master it. Another thing that Kiba, Elian and Naruto's parents did was make him a bit smarter. He wasn't on Shikamaru's level, but he was smart enough to know that he can't just jump into a fight fist swinging and expect to win. After a few hours after training with the new jutsu, everyone went home. Naruto was walking home with Sakura. The two were currently chatting with each other about jutsu they had learned. Meanwhile at Training Ground 8, Kurenai was not having a good day at the moment. She was currently dealing with a very angry Kiba who was going on about some humiliation he had and that some punk had put his hands on his sister. She was slightly mad as Hana was one of her friends. Hinata was close by trying to comfort her sensei who was on her last rope because of Kiba's anger at whoever it was who beat. Suddenly Kiba stopped ranting and sniffed the air. Akamaru sniffed too. The small dog then started barking at its master, as if telling him not to do something that he would ultimately regret. Kiba of course didn't listen. The dog user took off in search of whoever had gotten his fur in a knot. Kurenai, Shino, and Hinata ran after the boy. They both knew that he guy could be very brash. If they didn't stop him now, then they would have to deal with whatever trouble he was going to cause. They ran after Kiba for a few minutes before Kiba grinned in a feral manner, as he had found who he was looking for. The rest of his team stopped, and saw that the guy he was after was Naruto. Kurenai was surprised that Naruto was the one who got Kiba's fur ruffled like that. Shino was contemplating why Kiba was so mad at him, and Hinata was blushing up a storm at Naruto's new look. Kurenai was silently looking at the boy herself, though she was never going to admit it. Naruto! Kiba yelled, getting the blonde and silver-haired boy's attention. Hey Kiba, he yelled, sorry about yesterday. No hard feeling, right? Oh, there are hard feelings. Kiba yelled, you took my place as alpha, you punk, and I'm going to take it back? You were alpha? Sakura asked. I thought his mom was? I think she was, Naruto said. I think he's just a stupid mutt who thinks he's top dog. He probably can't even do something right without mommy there. The two started laughing, which really got him mad. He got even angrier when he heard Hinata and Kurenai giggling slightly at the jab. That's it! Kiba yelled. As he got in his family stance, Kiba's chakra flared for a few seconds. He charged blindly with Akamaru barking at him to try and stop him before he got killed. If Kiba hadn't been in a blind rage at the moment, he would have noticed that Naruto was focusing chakra into his hand. Kiba jumped and used his tunneling fang attack. Naruto drew his arm to the side. His arm started to radiate silver chakra and then he swung. There was a loud cracking noise and his fist made contact. Kiba now lay on the ground unconscious with a fist-shaped indent on the side of his head. Kurenai, Naruto said, getting the red-eyed woman's attention. Good to see you, and if you see Hana, tell her I said hi. Naruto then turned around and went home with Sakura. While they left, Hinata was seething inside. She had just seen Naruto laughing and smiling with another girl. She was now thinking of ways of making the red-headed girl pay. Oh yes, she would pay. Hinata's eyebrow started to twitch when she thought of it. Shino, Kurenai and Akamaru all noticed the twitch, and they slowly backed away from her. Naruto had just finished his training for the day. It had been a few weeks since the team started the training with each other. In that time, Naruto had gotten some sword training from his mother. Sakura had gained some skill herself. She was now able to create at least 3 shadow clones. However, it did make her winded after using 3, so she only made 1 at a time. Sasuke was still the same arrogant piece of crud that has yet to actually learn teamwork. He had managed to learn the jutsu he was given. After that, he tried making Kakashi give him more. At the time, Kakashi was doing his best to keep Sasuke from getting too many jutsu. The young Uchiha tried to get Naruto and Sakura to fight with him so he could use the Sharingan he awoke from his fight with Haku, but they always turned him down. At one time he even flirted with Sakura to try and get him access to her techniques. This got him an earth chakra-powered punch to the stomach that broke one of his ribs. He tired complaining to the council, but since the civilians were done in a way with, he didn't succeed obviously. Over her training, Sakura had gotten a little stronger. She had managed to unlock the water part of her chakra. This in turn not only made the water jutsu she could use stronger, but allowed her to try and use with style moves. She hadn't unlocked it yet, but she was on her way to it. She could tell cause when she unlocked her water chakra, she felt a rushing feeling, one that controlled and strong at the same time. Since their disbandment, most of the civilians had been thinking about what had happened. They realized that when they had tried to kill Naruto, they had nearly destroyed themselves. In light of this, they were actually starting to warm up to him. Some of them were anyway. A few civilian clans and merchants were still upset about the whole thing since the Indiamen stopped the ninja war in which they made a killing. How self-absorbed can you be? Anyway, shop owner and restaurants let Naruto in now. Kushina and Minato were still far from forgiving them, but it was a start. At the time, Team 7 was waiting for their sensei, who was being late yet again. What's taking him so long? Sakura complained. In her time of being disowned, she had grown much quieter. She could still be loud, but now it was only when she was very angry. It was a major relief on the people and dogs of the village. After a few more minutes of waiting, Kakashi appeared in a puff of smoke. Yo, he said with a double-eye smile. Since he had his Sharingan eye removed, he didn't need to keep his eye covered. Because of this, a few girls noticed him. Why are you late this time? Naruto asked, sparring with Guy again. The 3 teens had been shown a picture of Guy a few days prior. To be honest, they were pretty freaked out about his appearance. Even Kiba was freaked out, saying that guy's large eyebrows were actually large demon caterpillars. Elian didn't say anything because he was hiding behind his wings, saying, "Make the bad things go away, mommy. Make them go away." Naruto was upset when he didn't have mental camera for the moment, because then he would have some blackmail for both of his tenants. "No, actually," Kakashi answered, "I have signed you 3 up for the Chunin exams." "The Chunin exams?" Naruto asked. "I forgot it was that time of year again." "Yes," Kakashi said, "now I suggest you guys train as much as you can. You're going to need it." "Naruto, can I speak with you?" "What is it?" Naruto asked. "I want you to keep an eye on Sasuke," Kakashi said. "The mental examiner wasn't a Yamanaka, so I don't know if it was another Uchiha lover and if he is really sane. Understand?" Naruto nodded. After that the team went their separate ways. Naruto and Sakura both headed to the Uzumaki complex. As they were walking, Naruto noticed something that was definitely out of the ordinary. It was a rock, but not just any rock. It was a completely square rock. The blonde stopped walking. The two looked at it. "Kid," Naruto said, "rocks aren't completely square." "I told you he was good," said a child's voice from inside the rock. A few seconds later the box exploded in a large burst of smoke. There was the sound of coughing from 3 individuals. "I told you used too much gunpowder," came a male voice. "You said you wanted it, big sniff," came another male voice. "Oh, shut up you two," came a third voice that was female. The smoke cleared to reveal a boy in a yellow shirt and khaki pants with a long scarf around his neck. The second boy wore green and had on glasses and apparently had allergies due to the fact that he had a little snot running down his nose. The third was a girl that had her hair done up in 2 pigtails. "Who are you supposed to be?" Sakura asked. "I'm Konohamaru, future Hokage," the first of the 3 said. "I'm Udan, and I like math," said the second boy. "I'm Moegi, the cutest girl in my class," the girl said. "And we are the Konohamaru Corps," all 3 of them said at the same time, getting in funny poses. Naruto and Sakura both sweat dropped at the fact that these kids were really doing this. Naruto had met Konohamaru before. When he passed after beating Mizuki, he met Konohamaru as he attacked High Grandfather Hiruzen Sarutobi. Yeah, that's right. This kid is the grandson of the Sandaime. Anyway, Naruto used his sexy jutsu which can knock out perverts, and the old man went down. The boy saw this and chased after Naruto, wanting him to teach him. After taking him to a few places and getting hit by a few women, he managed to teach Konohamaru the sexy jutsu. Around that time the boy's sensei Ebisu came out. Like the others, he didn't like Naruto either. Konohamaru tried the sexy jutsu, but it didn't work on him. Naruto brought out a couple of shadow clones and had them do the sexy jutsu, thus creating the harem jutsu. The move knocked Ebisu out cold. After that, Naruto told the boy that no matter what he did there was no shortcuts to being Hokage. The boy apparently took that to heart. "Hey boss," Konohamaru said, breaking Naruto from his thoughts. "Is this your girlfriend?" "No kid," Naruto said, "she's just a friend of mine." "Good," the boy said, "cause you could do better. I mean, she's got a massive forehead and a flat chest. She's not really that appealing." Unfortunately for the Sandaime's grandson, Sakura had yet to improve her temper. "What did you say?" Sakura asked in a sickly sweet voice that a lot of people feared. "Kids," Naruto whispered, "run." The 3 kids then ran for their lives with an angry Sakura hot on their tail. Naruto ran after them because he knew Sakura would kill him, grandson of the Sandaime, or not. The chase was uneventful except for at the end when Konohamaru ran into some. "Ow," the person groaned. "Watch where you're going, you little brat." Said person was a guy who was dressed a black suit and a hood that made him look like a cat. He had a large bandaged pack on his back. Another thing about him that stuck out was the fact that his face was covered in war paint. With him was a blonde. She wore a battle kimono and had a large battle fan on her back. Her hair was done up in 4 tails. "Maybe I should teach you to watch where you're going," the boy said, lifting Konohamaru up by the neck. "Kankuro," the blonde said, "knock it off." "What if he finds out?" "Relax, Temari," Kankuro said, looking at her. "He won't find out." Kankuro turned back to the kid to start, when he suddenly felt a sudden flash of killing intent. He found the source to be a blonde standing across from him. "I suggest you put the boy down," Naruto growled. "Oh yeah?" Kankuro said. "Or what?" "That," Naruto said, pointing over Kankuro's shoulder. "I'm not going to fall for that," Kankuro said smugly. Then he heard a gasp. He turned around to see a second blonde that looked exactly like the one in front of him. His had a golden sword to Temari's neck. Kankuro did the smart thing and put the kid down. At that moment the blonde in front of him disappeared in a puff of smoke. "A clone?" Kankuro thought. The blonde put his sword up, sealing it in the dragon tattoo on his arm. "Now," Naruto said, "before this goes any further, Sasuke, get out of the tree. That goes for the redhead who smells like sand and blood too." Sasuke jumped out of the tree. He was swiftly followed by a redhead in brown and black with a gourd on his back and a kanji for love over his eye. "Kankuro," the boy growled, "you area disgrace to our village." "But Gaara," Kankuro said, "it wasn't my fault, this guy." "Shut up," Gaara growled, "or I'll kill you myself." Gaara turned his attention to Team 7. "You," he said, "what is your name?" "Sasuke Uchiha," Sasuke said. "He is unimportant." He was shut up by a blast of killing intent from the redhead. "You do not interest me," Gaara snarled at the Uchiha who was close to wetting himself. "Naruto Uzumaki," Naruto said. "Kit," Kyubi said, "I recognize this guy's chakra." He has the Ichibi held inside of him. Yes, Elian spoke. I can sense the demonic chakra coming from the boy. Hey buddy, Naruto called out. I can tell there's something different about you. What do you mean? Gaara asked. Simple, Naruto said, you're like me. A cage that hold a monster. Gaara and the other sand ninja's eyes widened. Which one do you hold? Gaara asked. Number 9. Naruto said, plus an extra. Kankuro, Temari, Gaara called, we need to go. Baki-sensei is waiting. They turned to leave. Hold on, Naruto called out, you know me and him, but I don't know you. My name is Gaara Sabaku, Gaara said, these are my siblings Temari and Kankuro. Siblings, Naruto said, didn't know that seeing as one of you is a redhead the other is a blonde and another is a makeup-wearing, SM freak. It's war paint, Kankuro growled, and I'm not into that. Yeah, Naruto said, I take it you guys are here for the Chunin exams. We are, Gaara said, I look forward to fighting you Uzumaki. As do I, Gaara, Naruto said, crossing his arms. The 3 Sannin then walked away. Naruto narrowed his eyes as he watched his opponent and fellow Jinchuriki leave. Come on Sakura, Naruto said, let's get out of here. Later on, Naruto, Sakura, and Sasuke arrived at the Tower Academy. It was here that the first part of the Chunin exams would be held. Never thought we would be here again, Sakura said. Me either, Naruto said, the last time I was here we were all just a bunch of students. I pity the people who have to sit through Iruka's lectures. At the same time, Achoo, you okay Iruka? Asked Kakashi as he heard the scarred Chunin sneeze. I'm not sure, Iruka said, but I think that Naruto just said something about me. I'll find out about that later. With Naruto and the group, Team 7 walked through the halls of their old stomping grounds. After going up the stairs they found themselves in a hall where there were a bunch of other genin teams. All of them were joined around the same room. Let us in already, yelled a voice that was familiar to Naruto. The blonde and his team walked forward until they saw who it was. Naruto was surprised to see that I was the bun-haired girl from a few days earlier. He also saw the Hyuga boy and the green-suited kid who tried to get in the middle of his and Kiba's fight. Sorry little girl, one of guards at the door said, but we're doing you a favor by not letting you in. You won't last a second in this exam. Naruto had a feeling that this wasn't as it seemed. When he was sure no one was looking he activated his Kitsune. He saw that this was in fact a trick. They were on the 2nd floor not the 3rd. Naruto had to resist the urge to grin like a madman. This was a good way to get rid of some of the competition. All they had to do was, hey, drop the genjutsu. We're on the 2nd floor not the 3rd. Son of a. Naruto walked up behind Sasuke and then bashed him over the head. You moron. Naruto growled, this was made to get rid of some of the competition. Now we got even more of them to deal with thanks to your monumental incompetence. Wow, I didn't even know I knew that word. As they left, a Hyuga started to approach them, but was stopped by Lee. Niji, he said, I don't think that challenging them would be a good idea. Especially the blonde-haired one. Why's that? Niji asked. He was the dead last this year and the year before that. I don't think that is the case anymore, Lee said. I witnessed the fight between him and the Inuzuka heir. I stopped them from fighting by halting one of their punches. And? Niji asked as the bun-haired girl approached them. If he had put more strength in his fist, Lee said, he would have broken my arm. Niji stopped as he heard that Lee had almost lost his arm due to the so-called dead last. Niji shook it from his head. It was Naruto's fate to be the dead last. No matter how hard he trained he could not defy his fate. Man, this guy is a prick. Team 7 made their way to the real exam room. As they approached they were stopped by Kakashi. Glad you two could come, Kakashi said. I see you got past that little first part. Yeah, Naruto said. Unfortunately King Imbecile over here blabbed about it, and caused a whole bunch of other people to continue along with us. Ouch, Kakashi said. Anyway, I want you 3 to go in there and knock these guys all the way back to the academy. Or in the case of the people from the other villages, knock them back to their village. The 3 then entered. They were surprised that the room was filled with so many people. They only had a moment of silence though. Sasuke, you in? Sasuke saw Ino Yamanaka, a platinum blonde with sky blue eyes, heading for him. The boy ducked just in time for Ino to miss him. She was heading straight for Naruto, who quickly did a substitution with Sasuke, and the Uchiha heir was tackled by his fangirl. Oh Sasuke-kun, the fangirl said, I miss you so much. You don't know how much of a pain it has been being on Team the FA, big bone doofus and that lazy punk. Ino turned to see Sakura. She didn't recognize her at first, but then she did after seeing her large forehead. Hey there forehead, Ino said, I don't know what you think you're doing dyeing your hair, but it won't help you win against me. To everyone's surprise Sakura just smiled sweetly at Ino. Hey Ino, she said, you mind if I talk to you later? Sakura isn't going to fight Ino? Chuji asked. The end must be near. Troublesome, said Shikamaru. They were the 2 Ino was referring to earlier. Chuji was a big boned boy with brown hair and swirls on his cheeks. Shikamaru was a skinny boy with black hair done up to look like a pineapple. So everyone's here, came the brash voice of Kiba Inuzuka. It's logical that everyone would be here, Kiba, Shino said to his teammate. Hello Naruto, Hinata said to her crush. Hey Hinata, Naruto said. Hey, you didn't stutter. I've been working on it, Hinata said. She was still a little shy, but she was trying to become, if only, just slightly bolder. Kiba growled to himself as he saw this. He had a huge crush on Hinata for the longest time. He wanted her, and he was not about to have some dead last punk take his girl away from him. He was about to approach them when a new voice spoke up. You rookies need to quiet down. You don't want to attract too much attention to yourselves. Everyone turned to see a silver-haired boy with his hair drawn into a ponytail, and a pair of glasses on his nose. He wore a white shirt with a purple vest. Who are you supposed to be? Naruto asked. My name is Kabuto, the boy said. You said not to draw attention, Naruto said. You've probably done this before. Yeah, Kabuto said. This is my 7th time doing this. 7 times? Naruto thought. No one takes the exam 7 times. This guy's must be up to something. I agree, child, Alien spoke. I think he might be in league with someone. Humans don't normally smell this much of snakes. Snakes? Asked the Kyuubi. If it's who I think it is, don't be surprised if I try to take over. Why's that? Naruto thought. Long story, Kyuubi said. I'll tell you later. Is there something you want? Naruto asked. Actually yes, Kabuto said. I'm here to give you some pointers. I don't need help, Sasuke said. I think he means information, Naruto said, getting a nod from Kabuto. Yes, Kabuto said. You're smarter than you look. I've done some growing up, Naruto said, crossing his arms. Now do you have any specific information on someone? Yes, Kabuto said. I have information on every person here. Then I'll take some information on Rock Lee and Gaara Sabaku, Naruto said with a serious gaze. I'll take some information on Naruto Uzumaki, Kiba said. Then he thought, I bet his record is completely embarrassing. If it is, Hinata will come to me. You know their names, Kabuto said as he took out some black cards. That makes it easier. He focused chakra into one of the cards and took it out. First is Rock Lee, he read. He's a senior genin. Under the tutelage of Might Guy. Has a condition that keeps him from molding chakra correctly, so he mostly uses taijutsu. Though he doesn't look like much, he has impressive strength and speed, so don't underestimate him. Kabuto took out a second card. Next is Gaara Sabaku. He's from the village hidden in the sand in Wind Country. Is the youngest of the Kazekage's children, the second oldest being his brother Kankuro, and the oldest being his sister Temari. Not much information on here except that he went on an A-ranked mission and came back from it without so much as a scratch. The genin who could hear were surprised. This kid was either very stealthy or very strong. They would have to wait and see. Finally, Naruto Uzumaki. No way. What? Kiba asked. Apparently this is some new info, Kabuto said, still in shock. Come on, man. Spit it out, Kiba said, getting impatient. Okay, Kabuto said. Naruto Uzumaki Namike is also known as the Silver Dragon. It says he's the dead last of the class, but showed skills far beyond that. First mission was an A-ranked where a traitor tried to steal the scroll of sealing. On AC rank turned a ranked mission, he went toe-to-toe with Zabuza Momochi, the demon of the Bloody Mist. At a later date, he as well as a team of Jounin and a few missing nin charged into and slaughtered a small army of mercenaries. That day he was covered in silver chakra that formed a dragon's tail and a wings. Later convinced Zabuza Momochi and a few other missing nin to join the Leaf. No other information other than that. Everyone was staring at Naruto in shock. Some of them were disbelieving since there was no way a genin could do that. Kiba looked about ready to wet himself from what he heard about the slaughter. Sasuke glared at Naruto for his power. Sakura smiled knowingly. The rest of the Konoha 12 was nervous. A team of IWA nin were glaring at the boy. Naruto's father had done some major damage in the past to their country. As I write, they were planning their revenge. Buddy, Naruto said, can I see those cards? Kabuto handed them to him. Naruto's hand then shined with silver chakra that caught the cards on fire. What the hell? Kabuto yelled. You knew too much, Naruto said. Only the Hokage knew about the mission with Mizuki, and second genin aren't allowed to have such information such as mission history, and the fact that I used that silver chakra was confidential. You're lucky I don't report you, Kabuto gulped. He had just lost all his information, and this guy was figuring him out. At that moment there was a large plume of smoke and a figure appeared in the front of the room. He was tall, muscular, and had a bandana over his head. All right, you maggots. The man yelled, my name is Ibiki and I'm the proctor for this exam. Everyone sat down and got ready for the exam. As they did, Ibiki spoke to them, telling them the rules behind the exam. Okay, Ibiki said, here are the rules for this part of the exam. You are given at least 9 questions on your test. You have 1 hour to try and answer all the questions. If you are caught cheating in that time, you and your team will immediately be disqualified. At the end of the hour you will be given a 10th question. There are special rules for it, but those will be told at the end of the hour. Everyone looked nervous at that. Sakura and Sasuke slipped angered glares at Naruto. Everyone understand? Good. Now the hour begins, Ibiki said as the clock started to tick. Everyone set to work. Meanwhile, the entire Jounin sat in a lounge while their students took the exam. So Kakashi, Anko asked, what's your team like? Where to begin? The silver-haired Jounin thought. Well, Naruto's grown up some. He's matured and he's gained some impressive skills. Sakura has started to grow up too. She's not the raving fangirl that she used to be, and she started to take her training seriously. Sasuke I'm not really too thrilled about. In fact, I'm starting to worry about his mental state. Why's that? Karina asked. Naruto nearly died on our C-rank turned A-rank mission trying to save Sakura, Kakashi explained. Sasuke just spat on his grave. After that, Naruto got some swords and Sasuke demanded that he hand them over to him. That boy's arrogance is going to get him killed. I'm with you on that, Asuma said. Dad told me that some familiar faces are back. Wonder what he meant by that. Guess, said a familiar voice. Everyone turned to see Kushina sitting on the windowsill. Kushina? Kurenai gasped. Hey there, she said smiling, glad to see you got rid of that Kakashi. Yeah, Kakashi said, that thing was a bit of a pain at times though. So what's going on with the first exam? Kushina asked. Well, Kakashi explained, the examiner is Marino Ibiki giving the written portion of the exam. Ibiki? Asuma asked. Oh man, this is going to good. Why's that? Kurenai asked. Ibiki is the head of the torture and interrogation department, Enko said. He's known as the mind sadist among the Jonin. Mind sadist? Kushina asked. He's called that because he doesn't torture your body, Enko sighed with a grin. He tortures you with mental warfare. Back in the exam room, everyone was taking the test as well as they could. Some teams had already been disqualified for cheating. Some of the Konoha 12 were actually managing to cheat without getting caught. Sasuke was using his Sharingan to copy the pencil movements of a student in front of him. Kiba had a camera look over the answers of another student and relay the answers to him. Hinata and Niji both used their Byakugan to see the answers of other students. Tenten used some nearly invisible wires to move mirrors on the roof to give both her and her teammate Lee answers. Sakura already knew them, as did Tamari. Ino switched minds with Sakura and memorized the answers before writing them down. Shikimura knew the answers and used his shadow possession jutsu to give Chuji the answers. Gaara formed a third eye and copied the answers from someone else. Shino had a bug scout the area and gather information. Naruto had Kyuubi and Elian give him answers. At some point at the half-hour mark, Kankuro asked to go to the bathroom. In the bathroom. Okay, he said to the Chunin in the bathroom with him. Tell me the answers starting from number 1. The ninja's face cracked to reveal a wooden face. After Kankuro came back and about 25 minutes later Ibiki stood up and addressed them. All right kiddies, he said, the hour is almost up. Time for the 10th question. Everyone stood on edge as they got ready for the final question. Before I give you the question though, Ibiki said, I should tell you there are a few things regarding it. First of all, you don't have to answer this question. However, if you don't, then you and your team are out of here. Also, you have a chance to back out. Those of you who don't want to continue can leave now. However, if you do, your team, a few people left the room. Not everyone though. The Konoha 12 being one of the groups staying. To those of you who had the guts to remain, Ibiki said before smiling, you pass. What? Came the reply of some nin who apparently wasn't all that bright. The point behind this test was to see how well you could gather information discreetly, Ibiki said. Those of you who managed to do so without being caught stayed. Those who got disqualified were caught. The other reason was to see how well you did under pressure. A real ninja never gives up his own team to benefit himself. That's something you have to learn. It's also something that I had to learn. Ibiki removed his bandana. Everyone retched at the sight of the multiple scars and puncture wounds that covered his head. Whoa, Naruto thought. Whoever tortured him was a real sadist. I have to agree with you on that one, Kit, Kyuubi said. Ditto, Elian spoke. Now, Ibiki said, putting his headband back on, those of you who passed can wait here until the proctor for the next exam comes in. At that moment the window was busted open and a black thing flew in. It was then sent out in 4 corners, revealing a banner that read, Introducing, the sexy and single Enko Mitarashi. A figure in the smoke became clearer and Naruto recognized her. All right maggots. Enko yelled, the time for kid stuff is over. I am the sexy and single Enko Mitarashi. Naruto interrupted, you don't have to introduce yourself lady, I already know you, and anyone who doesn't can just read the banner. Enko face faulted and left an imprint of her face on the floor. Everyone couldn't help but snicker. Even Ibiki had to chuckle at that. Enko regained her composure and sauntered over to him and said in a flirty voice, what's wrong? Upset that you woke up alone yesterday? Everyone's eyes widened as they looked at Naruto in shock. A few girls looked jealous and the guys all got nosebleeds. Hinata was seething at the purple-haired woman and was sending a secret glare at her. Naruto didn't know what to say for a moment. Kid, I gotta come back for you, Kyuubi said, then he whispered it. No, Naruto said, looking her in the eye. I'm upset because you never called me back, or stayed for another round. It was Enko's turn to blush. Everyone looked at the blonde like he was nuts. Enko then noticed how many there were. Ibiki, you're losing your touch, she said, there are so many left this time. We have a special group this time around, Enko, Ibiki said. All right then, Enko said, to those of you who passed follow me to the next exam. Everyone got up and left. All the while Hinata was sending glares at the back of Enko's head for trying to steal her Naruto. If only she knew that she was just teasing. After everyone left, Ibiki started taking up the test papers. When he reached Naruto's, he was surprised to see a drawing on it. The drawing was of a chibi version of Naruto doing a peace sign. He chuckled slightly. Then he read a note that was close to the bottom. Dear Ibiki aka Proctor aka Scarface, Ibiki growls. In the future you might want to try leaking a bit of killing intent on the final question. That'll really make everyone want to soil their pants. Also, a genin by the name of Kabuto had some info that was confidential. Do me a favor and look into it. Signed, Naruto aka Maggot aka Kyuubi Brat. P.S. Test this, you sucker. At that moment a small seal at the bottom of the page came undone, and large cream pie shot out and nailed Ibiki in the face. The man growled as he wiped the pie off his face. Brat, Ibiki muttered out loud, still he does raise a point. With that Ibiki got up and then headed off to do a little research on this Kabuto guy. Meanwhile, the genin teams now stood in front of a large forest. Said forest was cut off from them by a large fence with signs that said keep out, and warning or don't go in here you moron. I don't think we're supposed to go in there, Naruto said trying to lighten the mood with a dumb joke. Do you think? Sakura asked chuckling slightly. This, Anko said getting the rookie's attention, is training ground 44, or as the Jonin like to call it the Forest of Death. Looks like fun, Naruto said with a smirk making everyone look at him like he's crazy. Kid, Anko said, this place is filled with animals and monsters that would make even a hardened Jonin run crying like a baby back to his mama. Like I said, sounds like fun, Naruto repeated. Everyone except for his team backed away from him since he certainly was crazy. Anko smirked. She threw a kunai at the blonde and vanished. Naruto moved to the side and the knife cut his cheek. He was then put in a hold and turned his head to see Anko lick the blood from his cheek. Yummy, she thought as she savored the taste. You know, Anko said with smirk, tough guys like you are usually the first to get splattered all over the forest floor. I'd hate to see such a cutie get eaten by wild tigers. Naruto smirked, and then there was a puff of smoke and a log replaced his spot. Before Anko could turn around she felt cold steel press tickle the back of her neck. She turned to see Naruto with his swords drawn and in an X formation behind her neck ready to decapitate her. Would you now? Naruto asked. Well, to be honest, I don't die very easy. How about this? If I manage to survive this you have to go on a date with me. I lose and I become your personal punching bag for the next week. Anko grinned as she turned to him and said in a husky tone, you're on stud. Hinata had steam blowing out of her ears as she watched the interaction between the two. First Sakura starts acting friendly toward him and now the proctor is starting to come onto him. She had to make her move fast if she was going to get her Naruto-kun. Back with the other two, Anko and Naruto both felt a small amount of killing intent. They both turned to see a Kusanin with a freakishly long tongue that had Anko's kunai in it. You might want to lay off the killing intent, Naruto deadpanned. You'll give somebody the wrong idea. Sorry, the Kusanin spoke. I just wanted to return the proctor's kunai. Thanks, Anko said taking her knife. Then she thought, there's something off about that one. Kyubi alien, Naruto thought, something's up with this guy. I can feel it too, Kit, Kyubi said. He smells of snakes like that Kabuto kid. Watch out for this one. He may be far stronger than he appears. Okay maggots, Anko said, before we begin the exam I need you to sign these. What are those for? Naruto asked. These are waivers that say the village isn't responsible for your death, Anko said making all the genin their sweat drop. After everyone signed the waivers Anko started to explain the test. For this exam, Anko told the genin, you have to go inside the Forest of Death here and find a scroll to go with the one your team has. If your team has an Earth scroll you need to get a Heaven scroll and vice versa in a time span of 5 days. While you have the scrolls you can't open them. What happens if we do? A random genin asked. You don't want to know, little boy, Anko answered. Also if a member of your team is rendered incapacitated you and your team are disqualified. Get it? Good. Now get into the stand over there and get your scroll. As the teams entered the stand they noticed that they couldn't tell which team had the scroll they needed. They knew that this would make things hard on all of them. With that the teams went to a gate that they were assigned. As they did Anko's voice sounded over an intercom. Before the test begins I have one last piece of advice, Anko voice said, just don't die. With those last words the gates opened and the test began. Everyone ran into the forest to find the scroll they needed and to try and get the heck out of this forest as fast as humanly possible. With Team 7. So what are we going to do now? Sakura asked. Okay, I have an idea, Naruto said. I'm going to go give back to nature while you two try and think of a plan. The two sweat dropped as Naruto walked off into the bushes. With Naruto zipped up his pants and sighed in relief as he finished giving back to nature. Sweet relief, Naruto muttered. Then he sniffed the air. He felt something off. He smelled a human being. He jumped to the right just in time to avoid getting hit with a kunai. He turned to find a rain ninja with a yellow jumpsuit and a breathing device on his mouth. Hold still, you dumb blonde, the ninja growled. Now hand over your scroll and we'll let you live. Naruto just smirked. He took a deep breath and focusing fire chakra into his jaw sent out a blast of flames. The rain ninja jumped out of the way to avoid being turned into a flambe. Sakura and Sasuke had been drawn to the blast and came across the site of the fight. As they did, two other rain ninja in yellow jumpsuits came up. One had a band covering his eyes while the other had his ears covered. Both of which had breathing devices. Sakura cracked her knuckles and charged at the one with his eyes covered. Shockingly he was able to dodge her punch. Sakura followed that up with a quick kick that sent the rain ninja flying. She hits hard, he groaned. I'm not done yet, Sakura said as she went through hand signs, wind style. Great breakthrough. A huge gust of wind blew through the forest, and blew away the rain ninja making him smash into a tree. He ninja tried to get up, but was stopped and Sakura jumped over to him and, with a hand glowing with green chakra, bashed him until he was in a very deep crater. Sasuke was holding off the rain nin that had his ears covered. He was avoiding a few quick strikes from the ninja while countering by stabbing at him with a kunai. The rain ninja jumped back and landed a few feet away. Sasuke then went through hand signs and thought fire style. Phoenix flower justu. Sasuke breathed in and sent out a volley of fireballs at the enemy ninja. The rain ninja just dodged from side to side, avoiding the blasts. Ha! The ninja yelled, his voice clear through his breathing device. You're going to have to do better than that to beat me, little boy. You're probably right, Sasuke said as he appeared behind him, making him gasp. The rain ninja was then struck in the back a few times. Then Sasuke grabbed him and pushed him over in midair. The result was the ninja facing head down. Sasuke grabbed him and then locked the rain ninja's head in place with his feet. As they fell, Sasuke called out, "Hawk dive." They made contact with the ground with a loud crunch. Sasuke let go of the rain ninja and said ninja fell to the ground dead. Naruto had drawn Dragon Claw and was swinging his sword at the remaining ninja. The rain ninja dodged each strike with surprising agility and jumped back and growled at the blonde. "Is that all you got, little boy?" The rain ninja taunted. "You wish," Naruto said as he drew Fox Fang and charged. The rain ninja jumped up and backwards to avoid getting sliced by Fox Fang. Naruto then threw Dragon Claw. It spun like a saw and Rain Nin ducked underneath it. Then the ground behind the ninja broke away while he was still in mid-limbo. The Rain Ninja's eyes widened as the second Naruto jumped out of the hole and caught Dragon Claw. The Rain Ninja didn't have enough time to process this as the sword was stabbed through his chest. Naruto then searched him and found a scroll on him. Darn it, Naruto swore under his breath, he has a heaven scroll too. He then went to get his teammates. "What happened?" Sakura asked. "I got the guy," Naruto said, "but he didn't have the scroll we needed." "Darn it," Sasuke said, "but at least that's one less team to deal with." "Yeah," Naruto said. Naruto suddenly felt a flare of chakra. There was a sudden blast of wind. Sasuke and Sakura managed to get out of the way, but Naruto was sent flying through the trees. "Darn," said a voice, "well, 1 out of 3 isn't bad." The 2 members of Team 7 turned to see the Chunin that had given off the killing intent back before the exam started. "I believe this is what you're looking for," the ninja said, holding an earth scroll. "It is," Sasuke said, stepping forward. "Well then," the Chunin said as she took the scroll and ate it, "if you want it, come and get it." Meanwhile, Naruto groaned in pain as he tired to move. "Okay, up we go," Naruto groaned as he rose up. "Man, that hurt," Naruto groaned. Naruto then felt a presence behind him. He spun around to see a massive snake. He managed to jump to the right to avoid the snapping jaws. He then noticed his swords, which he hadn't sealed up, were over to the side. He focused Elion's and Kyubi's chakra and the 2 swords flew at him. Skillfully he caught them. The blonde then jumped left to avoid the jaws again. Then he jumped up and brought the swords down on the snake's head, piercing its brain. "Man, what was with that?" Naruto thought out loud. "Kit!" The fox yelled, "I know where I smelled that scent before. You have to get back to your friends now." "You got it, Fox," Naruto said to the fox as he made a dash for the last place he saw the 2. Naruto raced through the forest following the chakra signatures of his friends. Actually, he wasn't chasing his friends' chakra signatures at all. He was going for the freakishly large amount of chakra that no genin should have. I mean, seriously, is this guy supposed to be so careless? Naruto charged through the woods until he found Sasuke and Sakura going against the Chunin. "It's that weird Chunin from earlier," Naruto thought. "Wait, that chakra is way too much for a genin or chunin for that matter. Damn." Kyubi roared, "Naruto, be careful when you fight this guy. It's going to take all the power you have just to survive." Naruto took out a kunai and that had a kanji symbol on it. "Hey you!" Naruto yelled. The Chunin turned to see the blonde throw the kunai. The Chunin caught it with a smirk. "Did you really expect that to work?" she asked with a smirk. "Yes," Naruto said, "yes I did." A second later the symbol on the kunai flashed. The light was so bright Chunin covered her eyes from the light. Naruto took advantage of the snake's momentary handicap. He blurred through hand signs before calling out, "Fire style, fireball jutsu." A huge fireball shot from Naruto's mouth and enveloped the ninja. Naruto stood across from the blaze. Then he noticed Sakura and Sasuke on a branch just a little bit below them. He jumped down to his teammates. "Are you guys okay?" Naruto asked. "We're okay, Naruto," Sakura said. "That freak had some nasty killing intent," Sasuke groaned as he got up. "I actually saw the moment of my own death when I looked into her eyes." "Whoa," Naruto said, note to self, "don't look in the weirdo's eyes." "Not bad, boy," said a familiar voice. Everyone turned to see the flames had died and the Chunin stood up without a scratch. Although her skin was burned and her left didn't have any skin, revealing white skin underneath it and a yellow eye with a purple line under it. "Who is this guy?" Naruto whispered. "Kit," the fox growled, "I know this guy. His name is Orochimaru, one of the 3 Sannin. He's the reason you were separated from your parents. He, along with some guy in an spiral orange mask, killed my family and put me in a genjutsu. That's why I attacked." Naruto's eyes widened and then he narrowed them in anger. He snarled with red chakra flowing out of his body. His eyes turned red with slit pupils and his nails lengthened into claws. "Don't bother hiding anymore," Naruto growled out. "I know who you are, Orochimaru of the Sannin." The Chunin's eyes widened for a brief second, then returned to normal and a dark smirk crossed his face for a quick second. She then reached for her face and then peeled off her face, revealing that she was in fact male. "Clever boy," Orochimaru hissed. "Let's see if you've earned your rank in the bingo book." With that the snake man charged, swinging a punch. Naruto ducked to the side, but was caught in the stomach with a knee that sent him flying backwards and into a tree. The blonde then whipped out Dragon Claw. The snake Sannin avoided the first few swings, but was surprised when Naruto focused his chakra and sent out a blast of golden flames from the sword. The snake jumped, avoiding the flames. One of the embers though nicked him and he felt the burning sensation in his leg. He then realized that if he had taken the full blast of that attack he would be barbecued. Static. The picture changes to that of a man sitting behind a large desk with a stack of papers in his hand. On the wall behind him are the words Fox News 5. We interrupt Dragon Kitsune Knight for this special news report, the man said, shuffling through the papers that were in his hands. Author of story Dragon Kitsune Knight, a retake on the story Kitsune Dragon Knight, has received complaints that the flames shot from Naruto's sword, Dragon Claw, are a rip-off of the Amaterasu flames of the Mangekyo Sharingan. When confronted, Isam had this to said, Elyon is a dragon of heaven, meaning his flames are strong against demons and people with corrupted souls, and aside from a lot of people in the DC and Marvel universe, there are very few people who are that corrupt. There was the sound of an audience laughing. Then the man then looks at the viewers and says, we now return you to your regularly scheduled program. Static. Everyone looks around as if confused. Naruto said, did anyone else just feel we were covered up by a news guy for a few seconds? Yes, Orochimaru said, looking around equally freaked out. Sakura said, shaking her head in disbelief, while Sasuke just stared blankly into space. Naruto then realized that the snake guy was distracted again. The blonde responded by going through hand signs and calling out, wind style, great tornado. Orochimaru didn't react in time and was blasted into the side of a tree with a blast of smoke, splinters, and bark. Naruto then ran over to his friends. You guys okay? Naruto asked as he knelt down beside his teammates. Yeah, Sakura said, we're fine. I think we should get out of here before that white pedophile weirdo wakes up. It was then that said white pedophile weirdo burst from the ground and his neck extended and bit Sasuke on the neck. The man then sank his teeth into Sasuke's neck. The young Uchiha screamed in pain. What did you do to him? Sakura yelled as she heard her teammates' screams. Just a little present, Orochimaru said with a nasty smirk. Soon he'll seek me out for power. Sakura growled, then charged angrily at the snake Sannin. The snake didn't move since he figured this girl was a fangirl and would be much of a threat. He was given a rude awakening when the girl's fist met his stomach and sent him flying through the trees. Unknowingly, Sakura called on her earth chakra and delivered a punch that was close to being on par with Tsunade's strength. Damn, Orochimaru thought as he rubbed his jaw, I felt like I just got punched in the face by Tsunade. This is probably how Jiraiya felt when Tsunade hit him. Meanwhile, in a casino, a blonde woman with a pig sneezed. I hope I'm not catching a cold, she said as she rubbed her nose. At the same time, in a hot spring in Kumo, a white-haired old man sneezed, alerting the women in the hot spring of his presence. Eek. Pervert. One of them cried, which was then followed by screams of agony as the man was beaten within an inch of his life. Back in Konoha in the Forest of Death, Orochimaru rose up from the ground and let out a low snarl. He normally wasn't easily angered, but he had just been humiliated and hurt by 2 kids. Needless to say, the man was a little pissed off. I'll kill you! He roared as he charged. Naruto growled as he jumped in front of Sakura. As he did, he felt an instinct roll over him. The blonde's blue and slightly silver eyes took on their golden form before he roared, Dragon of Heaven! Breath your golden flames on my enemy! Burn Dragon Fury! As Naruto spoke that phrase, Dragon Claw erupted into golden flames that shined with a holy radiance. When the flames cleared, it showed a new sword in Naruto's grip. This new sword was a deep golden color. Coming off the blade, you could see what looked like light silver flames flickering in the blade. The hilt was made to resemble a white dragon's head with golden eyes, with the blade looking like it was coming out of the dragon's mouth. Orochimaru froze as he felt holy power rising off the blade. Naruto then focused Churka into the newly formed Dragon Fury and swung. The result was a large blast of gold flames erupting from the blade and being sent at the snake Sannin flying. After that, Dragon Fury turned back into Dragon Claw. Naruto examined his sword, then turned to Sakura and said, I think we should get out of here. We need to find some place where Sasuke can heal. Right, Sakura said as she picked up Sasuke and then ran off for someplace that was relatively safe in this forest to rest up. Meanwhile, Orochimaru rose up from the ground with a pained look on his face. The man then shook his head to clear the cobwebs. That boy certainly seems to live up to his reputation, he thought. If it weren't for the Kyuubi, I'd try and take him for my next body. Oh well, at least I got the Uchiha with my mark. I wonder if I could get my hands on that sword of his? Later, Naruto sat next to Sakura as they watched Sasuke sleep. The boy had been out cold ever since that snake Sannin bit him, and the two were starting to get worried for their teammate. Sure, the guy was a complete and total pain in the butt, but he was still their teammate. Like it or not, the two watched him for a while until they actually fell asleep. After a while they woke up again and were happy to see that their friend was still okay and that they weren't being attacked. At this time, Naruto decided to ask about what happened with his sword in the fight with the snake Sannin. Hey you guys, Naruto thought, do you have any idea as to what happened to my swords? When we made your swords kit, we made them sentient, Kyuubi said. As a result, both swords have a second form. A true form, if you will. You unlocked my sword's true form in the fight with that corrupted soul, Elyon said. The sword's true form will have a special power, but I'm not sure what it is. Meanwhile, just at the edge of the clearing, Team 7 was in 3 gen and watched them. One of them had his head completely wrapped up in bandages showing only one eye. He wore a long-sleeved purple shirt that went way over his hands. The second was tall with a yellow shirt and spiky black hair. The third, who was the only girl, had long black hair, a gray shirt, and camouflage pants. All 3 of them wore a headband that had the picture of a musical note. So that's them, huh? The one with spiky hair, Zaku said. They don't look so tough. Don't let that fool you, the bandaged one, Dosu said. We still have to fight that silver dragon guy and that redhead. Look at her, the girl, Kin said to her teammate. She's probably a fangirl. I don't recall asking your opinion, Dosu said, glaring at her with his one visible eye. Kin glared at the back of her teammate's head. Since she was a girl, she was looked down on by her teammates. At times she wished that her friend Taiyo was with her. She was brought out of her thoughts when she noticed Naruto looking at them from their hiding spot. They didn't know it, but Naruto had sensed them due to the fact that he could smell them. In other words, he had the sneaking feeling they were being watched and focused chakra into his nose. He quickly picked up their scent. It was hard since Saki used a lot of hair gel. I mean, how can a person get their hair to stick up like that without hair gel? The blonde then rose up and called out, "Stop hiding like cowards and come out." Sakura rose up as she heard that. That was when the team from Sound came out of the shadows. So what do you guys want? Naruto asked as he took out Dragon Claw. Wake up, Sasuke, Dosa said. We want to fight him. Sorry, mummy man, Naruto said, pointing his sword at him. If you want to fight him, you need to get through me and Sakura. Oh, I'm scared, Zaku taunted. We have to fight a dumb blonde and a red-headed fangirl. Oh, I'm shaking in my sandals. You will be hair boy, Naruto growled as he got into a sword stance. Zaku growled. He then charged at the blonde, who in turn charged. The two were about to clash when Naruto swung Dragon Claw. Zaku ducked the shot and threw out a punch. Naruto caught it, and then swung out a kick that hit Zaku in the chest. Sakura charged forward and started fighting with Dosu. The mummified boy threw out a right hook that Sakura was pretty quick to dodge. The girl then sent out a quick kick to Dosu's legs to try and knock him down. The mummified genin jumped over the attack, but he was left vulnerable in mid-air and Sakura sent a quick haymaker to the boy's stomach, sending him rolling. Sakura was then attacked by Kin. The black-haired Kunoichi swung a right hook which Sakura caught. Kin threw another punch which Sakura caught, and then the two stood at a standoff. Glad to see that there's a Kunoichi that actually takes this job seriously, Kin said as she tried to gain the upper hand. Yeah, Sakura said, and I used to be a fangirl. Really? Kin asked, surprised. When your crush spits on the supposed grave of someone who saves your life, you tend to lose interest, Sakura stated before bringing her knee up and nailing Kin in the stomach, making her double over. Sakura then focused her earth chakra into her hand and sent Kin flying with a wicked punch to the face with a resounding crack. Naruto and Zaku looked away to see Kin get sent flying into a tree. Dang, Zaku said, your friend sure knows how to throw a punch. While making his observation, Zaku made one of the biggest mistakes a ninja can make. He took his eyes off his opponent. Naruto took advantage of this moment and ran forward swinging Dragon Claw. Zaku reacted too late and got a slash mark across the chest. The sound genin screamed as the blade tore through his flesh. Though it looked bad, it wasn't deep enough to cause damage. You little punk! Zaku growled as he lifted up his hands, aiming his palms at Naruto. It was then that Naruto noticed that he had vents on his hands. Slicing sound wave. A huge blast of air shot out of Zaku's hands and at Naruto. The blonde was so shocked that he didn't have time to react and was blasted into the hollow tree that Sasuke was sleeping in. Got him, Zaku said with a smirk. Meanwhile, Sakura was fighting Dosu again. The redhead was dodging the mummified man's punches. After a lot of failed attempts, Dosu rolled up his sleeves, revealing a large metal brace on his arm that had a lot of holes in it. It was at that moment that Naruto was blown into the tree. Naruto! She cried. Dosu took advantage and charged at her. Sakura blocked the incoming punch. Afterwards, though, she felt woozy. What was that? Sakura asked as she tried to regain her balance. My sound bracer, Dosu said with a smirk behind his bandages. My bracer allows me to intensify impacts, turning them into a wave of sound. A wave I can manipulate with my chakra to attack certain parts of the ear that can affect a person's senses. Dosu was about to hit Sakura when he realized something. He couldn't move. It was then that Sakura noticed Shikamaru was standing there with his shadow extended and connected to Dosu's. Shadow possession jutsu complete, Shikamaru said with a smirk. At that moment, Chuji and Ino came out of the underbrush. What took you guys so long to come out and help? Sakura asked. You knew we were there? Ino asked, surprised. Naruto could smell your perfume and Chuji's chips, Sakura deadpanned. He could? Ino asked. I thought he was the dead last? He's improved, Ino, Sakura said, or did you forget about what you heard about the incident in Wave? The fight would have continued, but Rock Lee showed up along with Tenten and Niji. These guys are popping up like roaches, Dosa said. Who cares how many of them there are? Zaku growled. Let's just blow these guys halfway to IWA. Zaku pointed his arms out, and was about to blow them away when they all felt a large amount of killing intent. Everyone turned to see Sasuke rising up from his spot in the hollow tree. His body was covered in strange markings and he had an aura of purple chakra. You started a fight, Sasuke said, and didn't invite me? How rude. All right, pal, Zaku said, aiming his arm cannons. You want to join the party? Let's go, Zaka! Wait! Dosu yelled to his teammate, but it was too late. Slicing sound wave, Zaka sent a huge blast of air that kicked up a huge blast of dust and dirt when it hit. Blew him away, Zaka said with a smirk. Blew who away? Asked a voice behind him. Zaka spun around to see Sasuke, who had a smirk on his face. Zaka was about to fire off another sound wave when Sasuke punched him in the face, easily knocking him to the ground. Sasuke then flipped Zaka on his back. Sasuke placed his foot between Zaka's shoulder blades and pulled his arms back. You seem pretty proud of these arms, Sasuke said with a sadistic gleam in his eyes. What are you doing? Zaka let out a piercing scream as his arm were pulled back. There was a loud sickening crunch as both of his limbs were pulled out of their sockets. The other stood horrified at what Sasuke had just done. The Uchiha though never lost his smirk as he did it. He then dropped Zaka's limp and pained body to the ground. So Sasuke said, who's next? Orochimaru-sama, Dosa thought, gave him a curse mark. Why would he send us after him then? With that strength we would be as good as dead. Is that it? Does he only see us as cannon fodder? Sasuke was about to run at Dosa, but he was stopped when he felt a large amount of killing intent. The young Uchiha spun around to see Naruto, whose jacket and shirt were now ruined, rising up from the ground where Zaka had blasted him. As he rose, red chakra began to radiate from him. The blonde let out an animalistic growl. His nails lengthened into claws and his whisker marks became darker, making them more visible from a distance. His hair even seemed to become more wild. The blonde then opened his eyes to show that the normally cobalt blue eyes that he had were now crimson with black vertical slits for pupils. So that is it, Lee said as he saw Naruto's features change. What do you mean, Lee? Tenten asked. When I first met Naruto he was in a fight with an Inuzuka, Lee explained. At that time his features were more animal-like. Much like the state he is in now. It explains why he was fighting the Inuzuka for dominance. Lee started to get tears in his eyes and said, it is amazing. Naruto's flames of youth are so strong that he is able to form a youthful beast. It is a true inspiration. Everyone heard that and looked at Lee strangely. Though they did admit that it was impressive. Despite that though the bloodlust from the chakra coupled with Naruto's killing intent was quite unnerving. Sasuke looked shocked, but that faded. So you're able to use something different than the chakra on the bridge, Sasuke said. It doesn't matter. With this power I'm invincible. Naruto's response was to just frown and then disappear from sight. The next thing everyone knew, Sasuke was doubled over and was then sent flying to a tree with a loud crunch. Sasuke fell to the ground unconscious. Naruto then shifted his gaze to Dosu. Either you hand over your scroll, Naruto growled, or I'll suck the marrow from your bones. Dosu gulped loudly and then took out a heaven scroll. He then picked up his fallen teammates and ran off into the forest. As soon as they were gone, Naruto turned back to normal. As soon as he did, he was approached by Lee, who was crying. Naruto! He yelled, you are truly a youthful ninja. For your flames of youth to be so strong that your chakra is visible. I am so proud to call you my comrade, was Naruto's response. Don't worry, he's always like that, Tenten said. Yeah, Naruto said, before this goes any further, do you guys have the scrolls you need or are we still in trouble? You are lucky, Uzumaki, Neji said. Fate gave me the scroll my team needed to pass. Oh no, Naruto said, not another Amo. We have enough problems with Sasuke being like that. Everyone except Sasuke, who is still out cold, chuckled a bit. Neji didn't laugh because he didn't usually socialize with commoners. Okay, since we all have the scrolls we need, Sakura said, I guess we should all head to the tower together. But which way is the tower? Ino asked. Naruto pointed over Ino's shoulder. The platinum blonde looked over her shoulder to see a giant neon sign that said, the tower is this way, dummies. Everyone stared at the sign with dropped jaws in total silence until Ino broke the silence by saying, how in the hell did we miss that? I asked the same question, Naruto said with a shrug of his shoulders. My guess is whoever was supposed to take these down didn't do their job. Oh well. Before we leave though, there is one thing we must solve. And what exactly might that be? Chuji asked. Which one of us is going to have to carry King Imo over here? Naruto asked. At that everyone face faulted. Oh make. Reaction to Orochimaru Vrisen 2. Team 7 were currently fighting the strange Kusa girl when Naruto realized something. Don't bother hiding anymore, Naruto growled. I know who you are. Really? The Kusa ninja asked with a raised eyebrow. Yes, Naruto said, you are a crazed fangirl come to kidnap and rape Sasuke. The disguised Orochimaru paused as he heard that. Come on Sakura, Naruto said, we must defend Sasuke's innocence. Well, what innocence he has left from being an emo anyway? What are you talking about? The disguised snake Sannin asked. Oh come on, Naruto said, don't pretend you don't know. Tons of fangirls have broken into the Uchiha compound with the desire to take Sasuke and have his babies. It's no surprise that one has infiltrated the Chunin exams with that same purpose. Orochimaru blinked once, twice, 3 times before saying, are all the girls in the village completely and utterly insane? I should know, Sakura said with a look of embarrassment on her face. I used to be one of them. The Konoha 12 and the unconscious Sasuke arrived at tower. Once they walked inside, they were greeted by the sight of a large room with banisters on each side, 4 large screens and a statue that depicted 2 hands forming a hand sign. So this is it, Sakura said. Now what do we do? Naruto thought for a second. Then he took out both scrolls and then opened them both. Naruto, what are you doing? Sakura yelled, smoke being pouring out of the scrolls. The blonde hastily threw them to the ground and there was a huge plume of smoke. When it faded it revealed a tan man in a Chunin vest with a scar across his nose. Iruka-sensei! Naruto yelled. Glad to see you guys made it this far, the scarred man with a slight grin. At that moment the other teams repeated the process, and multiple plumes of smoke exploded into the room. When they faded they revealed Kurina Yuhi, Asuma Sortobi, and Might Guy. YOSH. Guy yelled, "It is most youthful that you were able to pass the second part of the exam so quickly. The flames of your youth burn bright." Everyone winced at the volume of the outburst, especially Kiba and Naruto, who had really sharp hearing. "Hey Big Green," Naruto said as he picked out his ear, "could you keep it down? I have really sharp hearing." Guy looked at the blonde and said, "But that would dampen my flames of youth." Naruto was about to walk away when he was struck with inspiration. "Yes," Naruto said, "but it dampens them further when you deafen your comrades." Guy gasped and yelled, "You're ahem. You are right, my youthful friend." The Jonin all looked at Naruto in shock. Asuma broke the silence and asked, "How did you do that?" Naruto grinned and whispered, "He is obviously passionate about those flames of youth he keeps going on about. Use that against him." All the Jonin, except Guy because he left to go quietly rant about youth, and Iruka were all slack-jawed and thought, "I can't believe we never thought of that." After that everyone left to go relax. "How many do you think made it through?" Shikamaru asked out of the blue. "I don't know," Chuji answered. "From what I guess we may end up having to fight in preliminary rounds and there are too many left," Naruto said. Everyone looked at him and Shikamaru said this just got a lot more troublesome. For once everyone actually agreed with him. With that the teams headed for their rooms. As they left though, Ino grabbed Sakura and pulled her to the side. "Okay, spill forehead," Ino said, crossing her arms. "Why is it you aren't all over Sasuke?" "Oh, and I saw your roots. How are you a redhead?" Sakura grinned before answering. "It's stated before the exam on our first C-rank mission." As it turns out the client, Tazuna, lied about the mission rank. "We were attacked by some really powerful ninja, one of which was named Zabuza Momochi." At that Ino put on a thoughtful face. "Where have I heard that name?" "Oh, he's that guy who usually walks around with a huge sword on his back," Sakura answered, making the platinum blonde's eyes widen. "Anyway," Sakura continued, "when Zabuza attacked he tried to kill me using that huge sword of his. Naruto pushed me out of the way, saving my neck. Unfortunately he took the full brunt of the sword and wound up with a huge gash on his chest." Ino gasped. "Somehow though Naruto survived and healed, which is how he's changed in certain ways," Sakura continued. "Anyway, when Naruto was dying Sasuke called him an idiot for throwing away his life for a piece of cannon fodder, or something like that." When Sakura said that a deep scowl spread across Ino's face. "Why did we chase that Amos son of a beep?" Ino covered her mouth at that sound covered her word. The two looked around until they saw someone. Said kid happened to Konohamaru, who was holding a button. "Yes." The boy yelled, "Udan's beeper works. Now I can finally mess with Iruka-sensei whenever he does those boring lectures." At that moment said sensei appeared and lifted the young Sarutobi up by his scarf. "Sorry about that," he said to Ino and Sakura, "he tends to sneak out of class." The two vanished via Shushin, leaving a surprised Ino and Sakura. "Well, that was off my radar," Ino said. "Ditto," her red-headed friend said. The next day, everyone was gathered in the main chamber in the tower. Naruto looked around and saw that the Tam from Suna had showed up along with Kabuto and his teammates. He saw the Sound team glaring at him. Well, Dosu was glaring at him, Kin was glaring at Sakura, and Zaku, who had his arms in slings, was glaring at Sasuke. "Congratulations to all those who made it," Ibiki said. "The Hokage would normally be doing this, but since he is busy, and I lost the coin toss, I'll be filling in for him." A few people snickered as they heard that. "Now then," Ibiki said, "since there are so many left, we'll be having some preliminary rounds. Anyone who wants to back out may feel free to do so." Kabuto raised his hand and drew out. Naruto noticed a nearly undetectable twitch of Ibiki's hand. With Kabuto as he was leaving. Kabuto was smirking as he left the tower. Then he felt something hit him in the back of the neck and his world went black. Back inside. "Now if there are no more interruptions," the scarred man said, "we'll begin the preliminary rounds. Someone bring out the really big screen." A large screen rolled out of the wall. "The contestants will be picked at random," Ibiki explained. "Those that aren't picked will go up to the banister." "Understood?" "Good." The screen then started shuffling through multiple names. The first match was Sasuke against one of Kabuto's teammates. The match was decisively short. Sasuke ran in swinging and found that his opponent was able to drain. His opponent could drain his chakra from contact. Sasuke came close to using the power of his curse mark, but managed to resist. Sasuke then beat his opponent with a taijutsu move that he copied from Rock Lee, much to said boy and his sensei's anger. Sasuke was taken away to have his curse mark sealed up. The next match featured Kin from the Sound team fighting Shikamaru. The Sound Kunoichi used Senbon with bells attached to disorient the young Nara. Fortunately, Shikamaru was able to sneak his shadow possession jutsu over to her by discreetly sending it underneath the ninja wire she had connected to the bells on the Senbon. With her possessed, Shikamaru took a shuriken out of his weapon's pouch and threw it. Both of them ducked, but Kin, who was closest to the wall, hit her head and was knocked unconscious. Shikamaru was claimed the victor by knockout. The next match was Tenten vs Temari. Tenten launched multiple weapons at Temari, but they were all deflected by the Suna girl's wind attacks. Tenten decided to bust out on her strongest moves, the twin rising dragons. The girl took out 2 scrolls and unsealed a whole lot of weapons. She manipulated each with ninja wire and sent them flying at Temari. The blonde simply opened her and used her wind scythe jutsu. All the weapons were deflected and Tenten was hit with a gust of wind that left a lot of gashes on her body. As the body of the Konoha Kunoichi fell, Temari was going to let her land on her fan, but saw that her Justa had lodged a kunai in her back. Seeing as she didn't want to cripple her, she just caught her and handed her to the medics. The next match was Kankuro against Kabuto's other teammate. Kabuto's teammate revealed that he was able to dislocate his joints to make himself more flexible. He threatened Kankuro that if he didn't forfeit he would snap his neck. Kankuro obviously refused. Kankuro's opponent then snapped his neck. Or at least everyone thought he did until he was grabbed by multiple wooden arms. The pack on Kankuro's back then unraveled to reveal the real Kankuro, who was controlling the puppet that Kabuto's teammate had grabbed. Kankuro then turned the tables and made the same threat. The boy refused and then had his neck snapped. The recently made corpse was then taken away. The next match was Sakura vs Ino. This one was interesting. As they made their way down to the arena, the two looked at each other seriously. I understand why you gave up Sasuke, Ino said, but just because we don't go after him anymore doesn't mean that I'm going to go easy on you, forehead. Sakura smirked and said, I wouldn't have it any other way, pig. The two girls then launched themselves at each other. Ino let loose a sloppy punch that Sakura was quick to dodge before she unleashed a vicious right hook. Ino was sent reeling with the blow. The platinum blonde then doubled over due to Sakura's knee getting slammed into her gut. The redhead then lifted Ino off the ground and then threw her like a rag doll. Is that all you got, little piggy? Sakura taunted. You wish, Ino said as she went through hand signs. Mind transfer jutsu. Ino's body fell limp on the ground and Sakura's eyes widened and she clutched her head. In Sakura's mind. Ino grinned as she stood in Sakura's mind. Easy as pie, Ino said. All I have to do is get Sakura to forfeit and I'm good to go. Ino looked around and saw what looked like a control panel. She grinned and approached it. But as she reached out for it, a strong grip found itself around her wrist. She looked shocked to see Sakura standing over to her side with her wrist in an iron grip. Get out of my head, Sakura growled. Then a large pure white version of Sakura with the word inner on her forehead appeared and yelled, yeah. Beat it, piggy. The regular Sakura then unleashed a vicious uppercut that knocked the platinum blonde straight out of her mind. In the real world, Ino shot up from the ground while Sakura stopped clutching her head. The redhead then glared at her rival and charged. Ino tried to stop her, but wound up getting a haymaker to the face and a few broken teeth. The platinum blonde sank to the ground out cold. Glad to see your student has moved on, Kurenai said to Kakashi as the proctor proclaimed Sakura the winner. The silver-haired Jonin nodded and said, yeah, I'm glad too. She's much less of a headache since she isn't screaming about Sasuke every 20 minutes. Sakura, who had just joined the two, growled, I had that, sensei. The board shuffled through names until it landed on Kiba Inuzuka and Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze. Naruto grinned and jumped down to the arena. Alright, let's go kick some ass. Kiba yelled, but stopped when Akamaru wouldn't budge. What are you waiting for, Akamaru? The dog user asked. Akamaru barked an answer. What do you mean you don't want to fight? Naruto was growing impatient and yelled, hey dog breath. Are you coming down or not? Kiba turned to Naruto and yelled, give me a minute. After a few minutes of arguing, Kiba came down alone. Akamaru was currently up in the stands in Kurenai's arms. I guess your master was smart, Naruto said with a smirk. Don't get too cocky, Kiba said. I'm going to beat you and reclaim my title as alpha. Then I plan on making Hinata mine. Naruto scoffed and said, yeah right dog boy. I highly doubt she's even into you. Kiba snarled, so what, she'll be mine even if she doesn't want to. As soon as he said that, there was a great deal of killing intent from every woman in the arena. Even Tenten and Ino, who were in the medical bay, were unleashing a little killing intent along with the nurses. Kiba, Naruto said, I think it's time someone shut your mouth up. The blonde then vanished in a sudden blur and reappeared in front of Kiba, nailing the dog use in the face. Kiba was sent rolling and landed on his back. Naruto appeared in front of him and stomped down on his stomach. Kiba yelled out in pain. The blonde then grabbed Kiba's leg and then threw him into the arena wall. Kiba groaned in pain and fell to his knees. Kiba, Naruto growled, I suggest you drop the whole belief that women are merely objects. If you don't, you are going to wind up getting hurt. And by that I mean you're going to get castrated. Kiba spat up some blood and said, who cares? All women are pretty much good for his labor and for a man's pleasure. Naruto shook his head and said, idiot. The blonde then took a deep breath and let out a loud roar. The sonic wave sent Kiba flying like a rag doll into the wall. Naruto was proclaimed the victor since Kiba couldn't move. I'll get you dead last, Kiba spat. Naruto just grinned at him and said, I'd worry less about me and more about you. Kiba was about to question him when the ground started shaking. Then out of the doors to the entrance of the tower burst some Inuzuka and Hana Inuzuka, both of which looked really mad. The two then marched up, grabbed Kiba and dragged him away screaming. I almost feel sorry for the guy, Naruto said. The rest of the matches went without much incident. Well, not really. The first match was uneventful with Shino fighting Zaku. Zaku revealed he could use one and fired off one of his cannons. Shino used his Kakai hype to surround the two with bugs. Zaku then revealed he could use both arms. Unfortunately for him, Shino planned ahead and plugged up both cannon, causing both of his arms to explode. Gross. The next match was between Hinata Hyuga and Niji Hyuga. The two used their Juken style to fight each other. And Niji almost killed Hinata by striking her heart. Luckily the boy was frozen from Naruto's killing intent. Hinata was rushed off to the medics. Naruto glared at the smug-looking Hyuga and made a mental note to beat him into a coma. The next match was between Rock Lee and Gaara. Lee had trouble getting through Gaara's sand until he took off high weights. He punched Gaara around and used the primary lotus to finish him off, but Gaara replaced himself with the sand clone. Lee then started opening some of the chakra gates in his body and started fighting again. After another round of beatings, Lee used the hidden lotus to try and knock Gaara out, but the Suna boy survived. Then using his sand he crushed Lee's arm and leg. He would have done more, but Guy interfered. The final match was between Chuji and Dosu. Chuji tried to take him out with his human boulder technique, but missed and crashed into a wall. Dosu then used his melody arm to knock him out with a sonic blast. After that, all the finalists were in the arena where they were given the final matchups. Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze vs Niji Hyuga, Sasuke Uchiha vs Sabaku no Gaara, Shino Aburame vs Kankuro, Shikamaru Nara vs Temari, Dosu King Yuta vs Sakura Haruno. Alright maggots, Ibiki said, you have 1 month to prepare for the finals. Learn some new stuff and make your villages proud. To those who didn't make it, try again next time. With that, everybody left. Naruto headed home with Sakura so they could start training for the finals. As he left, Naruto smirked as he looked forward to the months to come. Meanwhile at IT headquarters, tell me already, Gaki, Anko said as she twirled her kunai. In the chair in front of her under a single light was a beaten and bloody Kabuto Yakushi. I'm not telling you anything, you psycho, Kabuto said defiantly. Anko chuckled and said, oh, you will? I have all night. Kabuto's screams echoed throughout the tower. Meanwhile at the Inazuma complex, what the hell was that I heard earlier? Some asked her son. I believe it was women are only good for labor and a man's pleasure. Kiba just stared at his mother and said, yeah? I mean, what else are they good for? He was met by a strong slap to the face from Sim. I'm very disappointed in you, Kiba, Sim said as she shook her head. I knew I shouldn't have let your uncle train you. It was no small fact that Kiba's uncle Kuro Inuzuka was a sexist. It was that fact that made him keep his distance from some women. Since you think that women are weak, Sim said with a smirk, let's see how you manage being one. Kiba raised an eyebrow as his sister approached him with a syringe in one hand. This, Hannah said motioning to the needle, is something special Mom made a few years back. This is a special formula that will turn any male into a female. The effects will only last about a month and a half, but you'll have to experience all the things women deal with, including the time of the month. Kiba's eyes widened. He tried to run, but his mother grabbed him in a bear hug and held him still while Hannah injected the serum into his neck. Kiba fell to the ground writhing and his figure started to change. Soon in his place stood a younger version of Tsum. Welcome to womanhood, Kiba-chan, Hannah said with a smirk.